Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seat. The show is about to begin.
Presented by Front Yard Fantasy. I'm your host, Simon. Joined as always by my wildly handsome co-host, John Luke Garofalo. Our friend Coop with us, aka Coop A. Fiasco. What's up, everyone? Welcome into the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. Coop and the Hogs is over. I'm your host, Simon, back today, joined by my co-hosts, John Luke Garofalo and Andrew Cooper. What's up, boys?
Over for now.
Is that a threat?
Get him.
Can't confirm nor deny.
Yeah. Yikes. Coop
and the Hogs
me this morning?
Yeah, I did just shout get him. Not sure if you heard that. Yeah, Coop and the Hogs is fun. I like the thing is every time it does end up being Coop and the Hogs, I go back and I'm like, I kind of look over the show and I'm like, we just did one segment for an hour and 15 minutes. Like, the structure goes out the window, the process goes out the window. It's like we're just
the fun comes in the window.
Yeah, we were doing. So I'm not sure if you had a chance to watch the second half, Simon. We were doing a draft on what you were in the chat there, but we were just like, why don't we draft? We were like, let's draft 3 people, and then we're like, let's make it 5. Let's make it 7. And then we were just like, at the end of it was just like, I like this song. Do you like this song? Nobody stepped in to
let's not deny it. We were all thinking about going to 9 rounds. We were all thinking it.
We were ready to go 9. Nobody stepped in to be like, let's take a break.
Yeah.
You tell Keith, don't end the show. We're going 13.
We just show up on Moose and Keith's show. We just are on there. We're like, do you guys like Joey Badass? So it's good to have you back, Simon. We need the captain of the ship, the steerer of the show, the gondola driver of this Italian boat.
The gondola. Is that how you say it? You were recently there, I believe.
Gondola.
I don't know, man. I don't know how to say anything. Don't ask me because
until Simon said that, I was fully convinced that was the right way to say it. I didn't even question it. I was like, "Yep, gondola." And then you said it, and I was like, "Nope, never heard that word before."
If you want to know how I was saying it to make my wife annoyed, it was like this. I would just walk around going, "Gondola."
Oh no.
Every time I saw one, and you literally can't miss them there. They're just everywhere. Gondola.
150 times.
On the first day. We got some people in the chat ready for today's show. Craig in here said, "Hi, guys. What's up, Craig? Welcome,
man. Craig?
And we got Tommy in here with our Thursday rhyme. Thursday, February 9th, 2023, to be exact. He said, tonight, a few legends will be called out by name to see who makes it to the Hall of Fame.
Ooh. That's it. Oh, that's short and sweet this morning.
Ooh, that is tonight, though. I like that. The Hall of Fame. Let's check out the finalists.
Who are the finalists?
Tommy BYOB and some interesting information for today. There were 15 modern era finalists. So they often do, on top of the modern era guys, they always do some there are some old timey folks that we kind of looked over that should probably be in. Yeah, I forgot about. So we'll just kind of sneak them in now. You have Jared Allen, defensive end. He played for the Chiefs. He played for the Bears, played for the Carolina Panthers, but I think most people know him from his time with the Minnesota Vikings, a sack master.
That's what they call me.
Sacks boy.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do.
Nasty boy. You have Willie Anderson, offensive tackle, played about a decade for the Bengals and then played a year for the Ravens.
Great Willie player. Anderson.
Willie. You got Rock.
That's the name of every single sport in the 1910s. Willie Anderson.
Oh, Willie Anderson.
He was.
They were all named Anderson.
Smudge Peterson. Yeah, Smudge Peterson. Smudge Peterson And the other name that we just said right
Smudge
now.
and Willie. Smudge and
So
Willie.
way back.
Willie and Smudge. Best buds from the time they were 2. They came out the womb holding baseball bats.
Bill and Smudge.
They'd finish
Bill and
their
Smudge.
they'd finish their day at the car wash collecting nickels, and they'd move over to the ballpark where they'd play 32 hours for free. Rondé Barber, cornerback and safety. His brother Tiki Barber was a running back within the league. He played from 1997 to 2012 for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Then you have Dwight Freeney, defensive end linebacker, played for the San Diego Chargers, Arizona Cardinals, Atlanta Falcons, Seattle Seahawks, and Detroit Lions. But most people know him for the decade he spent terrorizing folks with spin moves and rip moves for the Indianapolis Colts. Then you have one of the most electric players of our time, Devin Hester, being nominated as a punt returner, kick returner, wide receiver. Spent time with the Falcons and Ravens. I don't think people can forget his time with the Chicago Bears, where he ran back many a kickoff. And when they stopped kicking it to him, he ran back field goals or whatever he get his hands on. Also ran back a kick famously during the Super Bowl. So,
Kickoff of the Super Bowl, right? Wasn't it
Kickoff.
opening kickoff?
opening
of the
kickoff
Super Bowl?
of the Super Bowl. Yes.
I just
Which-
watched that highlight like 2 days ago. It came up on my Reddit timeline, and I was like, good God. Sometimes I forget how scary of a kick returner Hester was. And then a video like that pops up. And it wasn't one where you looked at it and you were like, oh, it's open.
Yeah.
Oh, he's got it. All of a sudden, it was just like, how the hell did Devin Hester get through there? And then he's gone.
Gonzo. And the great thing about that video is that it was there's a certain period of time where highlights are amazing, and it's like the late 90s, like early 2000s, when cell phone cameras sucked and people still had real cameras, but like they had like people were bringing like serious cameras to the games. So like, you know, those like early like Patriots Rams Super Bowls where the flashes going off in the stands are just like pow 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 pow. You know what I'm talking about? Like those something about those highlights, I feel like just it's like fireworks, you know. So then you have Torrey Holt, played one last season for the Jaguars, but played the vast majority of his career for the St. Louis Rams, the greatest show on turf offense. Torrey Holt and Isaac Bruce, you know, Kurt Warner, Mark Bulger, Marshall Faulk, like some of those offenses, some of the best we've ever seen. You have Andre Johnson, played with the Colts and Titans, but played the vast majority of his career with the Houston Texans, absolutely terrible quarterbacks. So got to give him the benefit of the doubt there. You have Albert Lewis, cornerback for the Los Angeles Rams Raiders, but played the vast majority of his career with Kansas City Chiefs. You've got Revis Island, Darrell Revis. He was a hired gun for multiple teams, won Super Bowl with the New England Patriots, played with the Kansas City Chiefs, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but did the bulk of his damage with the New York Jets. That's probably where he's most famous for, right?
Yeah, that's
That
why I
makes sense.
remember him.
Yeah. Joe Thomas, offensive tackle, played every single season with the Cleveland Browns. Famously never won the first game of the season with the Cleveland Browns. But dude was rock solid, man. And now he's a great analyst.
I love Joe Thomas.
You've got a guy that's been on here for a while that I believe should be in, and that's Zach Thomas, linebacker. Briefly played for the Cowboys, but a absolute fixture in the Miami Dolphins. Lineup. You have DeMarcus Ware, linebacker, defensive end for Dallas Cowboys most of his career. Reggie Wayne, wide receiver for the Indianapolis Colts, played 13 years with the Colts with Peyton Manning. Patrick
Parks and
Willis,
Rec cameo.
Parks and Rec, shout out, dude. Crushed on Parks and Rec, I would say.
He
Him
did.
and who was the big guy from the Pacers that was always on there?
Detlef Shrimp.
Detlef Schrempf, yeah. And also, there was an active player on there, too. Those guys did a great job on there. Patrick Willis, Rick Smits, he was on there, too, Tony points out. Patrick Willis, linebacker for the San Francisco 49ers, only played 7 years, but high-impact player when he did play. And then Darren Woodson, safety for the Dallas Cowboys for 11 years there. I mean, crazy.
A lot of folks.
Crazy lineup.
We'll see who gets in tonight. Tomorrow, we'll be able to talk about the guys who made it. How many are voted in? Is it a set number or is it a threshold of votes? I'm unaware of how the voting works.
I think it's a maximum of 5 per year. So I want to say, but I'll have to double check on that. But I think it's like it's a threshold of votes, but I think they max it out at 5. May elect up to 5.
There we go. Well, guys, a little appetizer for your breakfast this morning with some of that, but it's time to get into BYOB. Bring your own breakfast. We're going to bring the stories. We're going to bring the topics. You just got to bring a little something to munch on. John Luke, you bring anything to munch on this morning for breakfast?
Nothing to munch on, just a little water. Staying hydrated. A little agua 2-0.
Agua 2-0, as they say.
I got a little yogurt with granola and banana.
Ooh, that sounds good.
I'm going farming.
I had no idea what you just said.
Have you guys ever watched the show Death, Love, Robots on Netflix? Yeah. It's an anthology series, if you haven't seen it, of like cartoons all by different people, all about some like post-apocalyptic or dystopian eras. And there's one about it's called like When the Yogurt Takes Over the World or something along those lines. And it's about a cup of yogurt gaining sentience. Coop, you should watch it while you're eating that yogurt. Go enjoy the.
I'll have to eat. Now, will it turn me off to my yogurt, or will it make me more interested in eating yogurt?
It won't turn you off from the yogurt. I'm not sure it'll pique your interest in eating it more. We got my mom in the chat saying that she's having a banana nut muffin for breakfast.
Ooh, chat throw in what you eat for breakfast.
Heck yeah. Yeah, let's go.
That sounds delicious, Mama Grunewald.
It does sound good.
I was downstairs earlier before the show, and I just was staring at my cabinet. All I got is snacks.
Nothing but snacks?
Yeah, I was like, man, none of these sound appealing right now.
I have the opposite problem. I'll look at my cabinet, and I'm like, I just have ingredients. There's not a single snack in here. All of these are just ingredients.
I do that
I
sometimes.
got honey and raw pasta and raw vegetables, and I'm like, I could make something delicious, but I don't want to make anything. I want to stick my hand in a box and then shove it in my mouth.
Exactly.
100%. Like I'll look at like a huge pantry of ingredients. I'm like, there's literally zero food in here.
I can't eat any of this.
Like like 6 different boxes of pasta, and I'm just like, there's no food.
Ramen.
Yeah.
That would take 6 minutes. I don't have time for that.
Right, exactly. Like nothing I can eat in this moment. I usually settle on fruit snacks.
Tommy having coffee and a muscle milk for breakfast.
Oh, yeah.
That's a high tea breakfast, Tommy. You better put some creamer in that coffee to counteract, or you're going to be too tough today.
Look out now. We got, speaking of high tea, we got Tony producing today, dude. Tony.
Hey, Tony.
Hot pasta.
Hot pasta la Barbara.
Hot pasta la Barbara. That's like,
guys, I want to start off.
That's an old timey
BYOB
boxer name. Yeah. Sorry.
Tony,
hot pasta la Barbara. Hey, he's got his
coming
shorts
in hot from Willie Anderson.
His shorts are up to here, like right up the head. Tony, hot pasta la Barbara. Hey.
He's got no belly part. It's just straight waist to nips.
In the chat, he said his famous catchphrase, "Gondola."
Hey. Tommy in here with the fisticuffs. Yeah, they're not fighting. They're having fisticuffs.
Yeah. They went 92 rounds.
All right, 49ers. I think something is fishy here. I want to call foul. I don't know if that's a saying, but I want to call it. I'm going to throw my flag out because Ian Rappaport tweeted yesterday, 49ers QB Brock Purdy will meet with Dr. Keith Meister in Dallas. Plans to have surgery to repair his torn UCL on the 22nd. Keith Meister? Dr. Keith Meister?
Let's back up a second. When is the last time when a team has given us info about a player that they don't just come out and be like, yeah, he'll be having surgery and it'll be 4 to 8 weeks recovery? These guys are like, he's going to Texas, and a man named Keith Meister, if anyone was asking, is going to be operating on him. Like, we don't usually get the name of the surgeon.
Well, sometimes we do. We get the one surgeon they always name drop is James. I think his last name is James. James Andrews. James Doctor
Jeff Jaiman.
James.
Andrews, right? You hear the name James Andrews. That's the guy that always does like the knees and stuff. It's usually bad news when you hear the name James Andrews.
What are the odds this is just Keith pretending to be a doctor?
If I was
That's his side gig.
Yeah,
repairing UCLs.
His pseudonym is his own first name.
If I was
with a different last name.
We see Brock Purdy show up with a floral Hawaiian print sleeve, and he also stole Tommy John Hama and started handing them out at his fake doctor practice.
If I was this dude, I wouldn't have people call him, instead of doctor, I would change that to the. And I'd have people call me that.
The Keith Meister.
The
Keith Meister.
You know,
he immediately sounds way more of a menace.
Hey,
the Keith Meister strikes again.
The Keith Meister. Keith Meister.
Yeah, I'm not even sure that's news. I guess the surgery is the news part. We all knew he had the torn UCL, but that's definitely he's getting catfished for sure.
That's really not a real
doctor. Well, hopefully whoever it is can pull it off. Hopefully if they've watched enough YouTube videos, surgery goes well. And it does sound like good news though, that he'll be ready for training camp. He'll be back in time for training camp, and we'll get to see maybe a good old fashioned QB battle up there in San Francisco.
A Q battle.
That sounds like what you do in the bathroom 4 hours after eating Qdoba. Q battle.
A Q battle.
I was battling a couple of nights ago.
On Twitter, there was a Q battle on Twitter, and there is anytime Joe Biden does a State of the Union.
Yeah, that Q battle comes out strong. It's a different Q battle. I fight my own Q battles. I let that Q battle go on in its own little Q battle chamber. They're welcome to fight it.
I like to get involved.
Q battle chamber.
See how many followers I can lose, you know. The Q battle.
I saw an interesting quote about Tom Brady yesterday. And this was coming from an NFLPA executive director, Damar Smith. I don't know why. It was just, I feel like the image that gets painted of Tom Brady is maybe sometimes like this elite status guy. Know what I mean? Not necessarily like a man of the players or of the people. Like that's not how Tom Brady gets portrayed in the media. There is like an eliteness to him. But this was from an NFLPA executive director. And he said Tom Brady was always a union guy from the beginning. When we got locked out, Tom Brady was the first quarterback who signed up to sue the league, which is not necessarily, I'm shocked by it, but it's contradictory, I think, to how he's presented, right? That he's a guy who's out there for the players. He's not for the league. And I feel like he's often viewed as kind of like this like professional league guy, even though Goodell likes to come after him from time to time.
I think probably the other part of it is that his sponsors are like Aston Martin and like, you know, IWC watches. Like,
yeah,
not exactly. Help. You know what I mean? And then there's Eli Manning sponsored by like, you know, Citizen, Echo Drive, and like, you know, Kia, right? So he's more of a man. Baby Gap. He's more of the man of the people. A little more attainable than Aston Martin. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, maybe that's why he seems like that. But yeah, I'm not surprised that Brady sticking up for the boys. You know,
I like to hear it. That's awesome,
Tommy.
And I feel like now that he's retired, we're going to start hearing more of these positive stories about him, right? Like if he's officially retired, because the hate subsides as you get separated from their playing career. People stop hating so much because they're not facing him. It's not a problem for them anymore.
They're not threatened by greatness.
Exactly. We're gonna hear more and more of these positive stories coming out.
Yeah, like Peyton Manning, like people hated him up here for a long time in New England, and now we all like him. You know, he's less threatening. Now he's just a big fun goofball doing pizza commercials.
Speaking of reacting to greatness, I know we talked about basketball yesterday. But did you guys see Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's response to LeBron James breaking his record? Because the media was trying to drum up this whole narrative that he was like bitter about it and didn't want him to pass it and all this stuff. And Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, I feel like every time he speaks, he's kind of quiet whenever it comes to like being public facing. But every time he speaks or writes it out, I'm just I'm just like, this dude should give every press conference. He should be the spokesperson for the NBA over here. But he came out and without being rude or aggressive, very much so kind of shut down the hate. He came out whenever he talked about him not reaching out to LeBron. He said, LeBron said we don't have a relationship. He's right. And for that, I blame myself. Not for anything I did, but perhaps for not making more of an effort to reach out to him. By nature, I have never been a chummy, reaching out kind of guy, as the media was always quick to point out. I'm quiet, shy, and I'm such a devoted homebody, you'd think that I have agoraphobia. So he goes on and he talks a little bit about like, there's an age difference. Like I'm in my 70s, man. Like what do he and I have in common besides we both played in the league? We were both great. And then they asked if he was happy for LeBron. And he said, why wouldn't I be? It's as if I won $1 billion in a lottery and 39 years later, someone won $2 billion. How would I feel? So just immediately, like he, in his response, took every single narrative they could have had about him being upset, him being bitter, and shut it down. It's like bulletproof, his response right there.
I love that. He shows that time and time again. I know he does a lot of content and stuff like that. He is a very, very just intelligent guy, very wise guy.
He's an amazing writer. Every time I see something that has his name on it, I write it. I read it. Like he's awesome.
Yeah. It's pretty cool seeing that. Pretty cool seeing that response to that. I see we got NKC in the chat. What's up, NKC? Welcome
in. NKC.
Good morning.
We said hi to Craig, right?
What's up, Craig? I think we said hi to Craig.
Without a doubt, we staring at it. I'm like, did we say hi to Craig?
Craig, tell us if we said hi or not, and if we didn't, we apologize.
So Joey in here saying Winning Time portrayed him to be an a-hole too, and it is truly unfair. I have not watched Winning Time.
New Girl does it too. Makes him a menace.
But I feel like New Girl kind of like is a menace. Yeah. So it's a menace making someone else a menace. So no one takes it like as serious. You're like, right. Look at this menace causing menacedom in others.
Yeah. It's crazy. Like obviously he agreed to be on that show too. And then like he's written books, he writes articles. He also wrote an episode of the show Veronica Mars. I've never seen the show, but like he's just out there creating stuff, dude. Just continuing to be the man, which is I love to see that.
He talked about like how he just sits at home in his sweatpants watching the game, and I'm sitting there like, man, that dude finished his NBA career as one of the greatest of all time, and now, yeah, those are, and now he's sitting in the world's largest sweatpants, living the dream.
Just a massive human. Shout out Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I like that. And it's always funny seeing whenever like the media tries to like just build up smoke that's not really there.
That's funny.
It's always comical.
Like us.
I pulled up this tweet because I was gonna bring up this topic. Cowboys plan to restructure Zeke, tag Pollard. And I open it up, and the very first comment is Coop saying, Jerry hates fun.
I was in there immediately. Yeah.
It's always funny seeing you guys in the wild.
Out there.
Out there in the wild.
Yeah.
Pretend you know nothing about football for a second. And then JL, reread that tweet.
Cowboys plan to restructure Zeke, tag Pollard.
What? Like, what does that even mean? Like, imagine like you're it.
Sounds like a kid playing Sim City. You know, like we got to rebuild this Zeke, and then he's like spray paint.
He named his city Cowboys.
Yeah, he's like he does like his like spray tag on Pollard. You know, right, but I mean, hey, that's the easiest solution for that team. They have a good backfield. They have a dude that can do the dirty work in Zeke. They have a guy who's good in space. Zeke's being overpaid. If Zeke is willing to take less money to keep Tony Pollard around, keep both their careers going for longer because they can split the work, that's the best thing for everyone except for me, because I play fantasy football and I want to see Tony Pollard go to a brand new team and get every single carry, which isn't good for anybody except me, and also maybe the team he would go to. But you know, in terms of backfields, the modern backfield, it doesn't get much better than what they got going on, man. Like, say what you will about Zeke and his explosiveness, but that dude can get a yard. When you need a yard and everybody in the building knows that you're running it, Zeke gets that yard. And there's something to be said for that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head too, that first thing you said, which is This is probably the best outcome, the easiest outcome, I think is what you said, which
Best answer is both. It's both.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think? What do you think, Simon? What would you prefer? Would you prefer? Are you cool with this, or would you want? Would you have preferred Tony Pollard to hit free agency and the Cowboys to have Zeke and maybe add somebody else? I don't know. What are your feelings?
Sorry, I had fully wiped football knowledge from my brain to truly appreciate the art of that tweet, and it was taking a minute to reload. Personally, of course, I want them to let Pollard go to another team. Like, I would love to see him get the opportunity to be a lead back elsewhere. That being said, I don't know how many other teams he lands on where he's got a sole backfield himself anyways. Know what I mean? We have seen him have fantasy success here, so there is an element of comfortability and safety in him being still in Dallas, right? It's not a change situation. How many times have we thought it was going to work out with a player on a new team and then it doesn't? So while I would prefer to see him walk, he's going to be fantasy relevant here in Dallas. And we probably continue to see a bit more of a switch to Pollard getting more of that work over Zeke.
You think they draft somebody?
A running back or just in general?
A running back.
I would be shocked.
Sure.
If they do pull this off and they you Will Smith on them. I don't. What is that? I just bite it.
That was a really good Will Smith impression. I just don't.
That was a remix. That was a chopped and screwed Will Smith.
Living with my auntie and uncle in Bel Air.
With this.
Every Will Smith impression, you accidentally go into the Fresh Prince theme song.
So, but like, I think I would be shocked if they drafted a running back in the first 3 rounds after doing all this to bring Pollard back and pair him with Zeke. It seems like an over allocation of resources.
I'm with you. Yeah.
Now, I saw an interesting comment from Chris Jones. He's the defensive end for the Chiefs. Obviously, everyone's asking everybody a million questions because it's media week. And he was asked about his contract and if he wants to be the highest paid rusher in the NFL. And Jones turned to the reporter and said, "Do you think I should be the highest paid rusher in the league?" And the reporter said, "I think so, but my opinion doesn't matter." And Chris Jones said, kind of chuckling, Mine doesn't either." Pretty good response there.
That is a pretty good response.
He's deflecting and doing a great job of doing it. Know what I mean? Like, he's like, I'm not answering that, but let's play a little.
I think he's pointing out the stupidity of the question, which is just like, what's the point of asking? Like, it doesn't have an impact whether I think that or not.
There are some all-time stupid questions for Media Week. Did you see the one that Nick Sirianni was asked?
No.
Somebody goes, which player on the team would you least want to date your daughter? And Nick Sirianni.
Oh, yes.
Nick Sirianni goes, "My daughter's 5 years old."
Yeah. It's such a good answer. It reminds me of that like infamous Jonah Hill interview clip where a bunch of reporters are interviewing him, and one of the reporters steps out and asks, like, "Are you still like, the fat guy in Hollywood, like, even though you're famous or something like that?" And he just like looks at him and he goes, "Does anybody else have any smarter questions?"
Dude. Smoked. I love when the reporters get smoked.
Yeah.
I feel like I saw a headline, and I'm having trouble finding it, about somebody pulling a random question out of a hat at Media Week this week and having to answer it. Like, that's how a question was decided. But maybe that was a fever dream, and that didn't actually happen.
That'd be sweet if it is. It's just like improv. Like, they just start mixing improv into press conferences or Media Week.
Yeah,
Maybe we need to get down there. That's our forte, right?
Yeah.
You know what? But take that with a grain of salt, because I see no further evidence that ever happened. It truly could have been a dream.
You guys watched that post-game press conference the other day where they're pulling rabbits out of the hat? Weird, right?
The weirdest part is that Amelia Earhart was the one on stage answering the question wearing a Chiefs jersey.
I thought she was in Jamaica.
I saw an interesting quote come from Jamar Chase about Joe Burrow. Speaking of stuff coming out of Media Week, but on NFL Network Super Bowl Live, he said Joe Burrow knows how he wants to set his contract up to keep his weapons around him. Says Burrow's contract will all work itself out. So alluding to maybe some Tom Brady-esque behavior from Joe Burrow to keep his wide receivers on that team.
Now, who do you boys think he's talking about in that instance? Could it be the T. Higgins who is coming up as a free agent the year after this and could demand somewhere in the $20 to $25 million a year range?
You just scared me. I thought I just lost a year of my life. I'm like, is he already at the end of his rookie contract? I was like, oh my God, I'm so old.
That's what's interesting about, like, it's almost worth, if you're going to, there's certain positions where if you're going to take them with a high second round pick, it's almost worth trading up like 2 picks to take him in the first, right? Because, like, think about T. Higgins. He was picked, I think he was the very first pick in the second round because they had the first overall pick. Yeah. If they had just traded up 1 pick, then they would get his 5th-year option, which is a much cheaper contract, and they would just get 1 cheap extra year of that player. And I know, like, you don't always want to keep the players on that deal if it pisses them off, but it's just extra leverage when you're negotiating, where you just say, okay, well, we could keep you for $15 million, by the way, just saying. But when we negotiate here, why don't we bump that up to $20 million? And now instead of paying him $25 million per year, you can get away with going up a little bit. It's with certain positions it's worth it. With other positions, where the 5th-year option doesn't really matter as much, maybe not. But something to think about. GMs out there watching the show,
taking notes. They all come here, all the GMs, to try and get their secrets.
Why didn't I think of that?
But I did think the quote was interesting from Jamar Chase. And if it's true, it kind of fits with what we believe about Joe Burrow, right? Like being that competitor, being a guy of the team, right? Like he's loved in the locker room, going back to his college days. It fits that narrative. And it could be fun.
I think we've learned, like, the Patriots set such a good example of, like, it's not just like the one aspect of it where you just win, but like if you look at Tom Brady and what he's built, it's worth so much more than whatever extra money he would have got during those years, right? Like if you go back to those contracts and say, here's an extra $2, $3, $4 million, like the all the rings and stuff, like that's the reason why he's sponsored by IWC and Aston Martin and Movado, and why they were able to build out all this stuff, and why TB12 brand is its own brand. Like, had he not done that, maybe he doesn't win those Super Bowls, and now he's not who he is. So I think people are looking at that and saying, how do I build the best legacy? And then from there, like, my job for the rest of my life will just be being the man, right?
Yeah. It is a very interesting like situation to dissect, the whole Tom Brady, the whole like taking less money to surround yourself with more weapons. In computer science, there's this concept called a greedy algorithm, which is like the algorithm always chooses whatever it thinks is best for it, like whatever move is the best. But sometimes the move that seems the best for you in the moment is actually not the best for you. So think about, like, if you're driving somewhere, this one direction might seem like the fastest way there, but there might be a traffic jam. So it's not always the smartest. And this feels like one of those situations where when you think about it, it makes sense. And it's actually really logical strategy of it to make money, not from the immediate way that everybody's thinking, but to build it out, separately. So I've always been very impressed by Tom Brady for implementing that strategy.
And there's also the flip side that you have to consider, where, like, there's a world where in 2008, when Tom Brady tears his knee up, there's nerve damage and all sorts of stuff, and his career ends right there. And maybe he doesn't have all the stuff that came in the future and all these things. So there is a flip side to it. So you have to, on one hand, I do understand why a lot of players are like, I'm going to take as much guaranteed money as I can get right now, right? It worked out for Tom Brady, but there is obviously a flip side. Like, Tom Brady's career could have ended in 2008. Instead, he played 14 more seasons. So, I guess there's two sides of that coin. But Joe Burrow, looking at the way he's playing and everything he's got going on, he could absolutely be in a position to do something like that. I think Patrick Mahomes is in a similar position if he wants to do that. I mean, Patrick Mahomes he already got enough money that I'm pretty sure he's a part owner of the Kansas City Royals. So like he could retire right now, and then he's just a measly owner of a baseball team, right?
A measly owner.
That's it. That's all they got. Speaking of owning a team, I saw a report that Dan Snyder's looking for $7 billion as a bid to purchase the Washington Commanders. That is the asking price, is $7 billion.
Yo, Maria, I don't know where she saw this, but she was telling me yesterday that his house he put on the market in Potomac, which is a very rich part of Maryland, and she was saying that his mansion was insanely extravagant. There was just like decadence everywhere. It's the most ridiculous thing you've ever seen.
I mean, did you guys, speaking of like his house on the Potomac, did you guys hear what he did with the trees there?
No.
Yes, it's evil.
Dude,
he's an evil man.
He wanted to cut down a ton of trees so that he had a better view of the Potomac River. And everyone was like, no, you can't do that. Like, this is actual like conservation land. Like, those trees are legit like important to the river. And it went so far as to like he just kept going to people he knew, and like politicians, and like to be like, let me do this, I'm doing it, to the point where this one guy was the guy that was like, this is not happening. And not only did he just go and do it anyway, but that dude apparently who like was standing up against him, he like hired people to go out of their way to like harass this guy, to the point where this guy got demoted down to like, they like followed this dude around so much to the point where like they arrested him for having like one drink or whatever, and like gave him a DUI. And then they found that he had some like badge with him that he was supposed to leave at work, and they like arrested him for like stealing. And then like he works at some park where there's literally one picnic table, and this guy was like the head of the park ranger services, all because he was like, you can't cut these trees down, it's bad for the environment. And then he did it anyway, so it doesn't matter. So this guy, I don't think it's reaching too far to say that Dan Snyder is a douchebag.
I hate Dan Snyder.
Agreed. That's it.
Where did that come from? There's another Simon here, baby.
What?
That's amazing, bro.
That scared the absolute hell out of me, because I was looking at Simon when that sound happened, and I'm like, I know he didn't say it.
Producer Keith that's cool.
You know what? I love that there's a drop of me saying I hate Dan
It doesn't
Snyder.
sound like a drop. It just sounds like a whisper. It was just like you slipped into the conversation. I hate that.
Dude, make a drop of me saying Dan Snyder is a douchebag.
Everyone pick their favorite Dan Snyder insult.
Yeah.
Set it as your text message ringtone. I see we got Dustin in here saying, "What's up, guys? Good morning, Dustin. Welcome in."
What up, Dustin?
And Craig said, "Did you guys see the Durant news? Not the Pokemon guys, the basketball player. And Kevin Durant traded to the Phoenix Suns, which is the final end of the Brooklyn Nets super team with Kyrie Irving and James Harden already out the door. Kevin Durant was the last piece."
Whoa. What are you talking about? They still have Ben Simmons.
You're right. My bad. A new super team is born. He just needed to be unlocked by getting rid of all those other guys, right?
Well, yeah, exactly. What a mess, man. What an insane mess. And like the Nets, this isn't even the first time the Nets tried this. Remember when they basically just traded for the Celtics big three after they were done? Like after their prime, they're like, the Celtics won with Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett. Let's just do the same thing, and they can have all our picks. And that's basically what this, like Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, like those are the Nets picks. Those players should have been on the Nets, right? Like what a disaster the Nets.
I feel like the Nets are Wall Street Bets. The Reddit subreddit runs an NBA team. Like it's
Exactly.
all high risk, high reward. Let's go for it, baby. And they keep failing. They're losing millions of dollars, but they're like, let's do it again.
Double down.
Right, just driving a Dodge Caravan with a license plate that says "Buy high, sell low."
Exactly.
$sign AMC.
Yeah, $sign AMC, $sign GME.
You guys know I don't follow the NBA as much as I used to, but Kevin Durant's my favorite NBA player.
Number one.
He's my number one favorite NBA player.
Is it because of his watching him play, or him as a dude, or
Him as
a combination of the two?
It's him as a dude. So yeah, it's not. I guess I should clarify that. It's just he's my favorite, person in the NFL. Definitely not in the NFL. In the NBA, I wouldn't say I would consider him like the greatest NBA player.
But he's so
I hear what
good.
you're saying.
But he's kind
I'm
of
saying he's my favorite.
He's awesome. He's awesome. He's just so silky smooth, right?
He is.
Like,
He's a Maryland guy.
Yeah. And
Grew up from where I grew up from.
I like the thing is people are like, oh, like the way he acts on social media, all that. It's like, dude, that's exactly how I would act too. Like I would have a bunch of burners, and I would definitely be. If somebody was talking smack, I'd be like, yeah, why don't you shut your little mouth up? Like I'm Kevin Durant. You know what
He's
I mean? Like,
really down to earth though. Too. Like if you ever watch any interviews with him, do yourself a favor, go watch the My Guest Needs No Introduction. It's the David Letterman Netflix series, and he interviews Kevin Durant, and it's fantastic.
Yeah, he's a legend, dude. He's awesome. So I don't know.
And
the thing is, say what you will about all the off the court Twitter stuff or whatever. Like, no, there's no one out there that's like, this guy is not good at basketball. He's perfect at basketball.
Yeah.
No, and this is definitely a better situation for him. He's gonna have some fun on that Suns team. Probably a little bit more fun than he was having up there in Brooklyn.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God. This is exactly what I was talking about. Was it 2 days ago? Andy Reid doesn't drink coffee. He says he doesn't drink anything in the morning to get started. I just get up and go. I have endless energy for a chubby guy.
It
feels like he's leaning into it too much now.
Are we sure he's not like the reincarnation of like Teddy Roosevelt? Like he's just, how is that possible, dude?
I think this is a coping mechanism for being made fun of for his weight.
You think too many people referred to him as like a walrus, and now he's like,
he's leaning into it. It's a good play. It's a good
taking
play.
it back.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to take the power from them. He's taking
power.
He's taking
making fun of
power
himself before they can make fun of him.
Yeah. And Tommy mentioned that Andy Reid was asked his top 3 rappers. What were they? Payday, Reese's.
If I remember, he actually named 3 rappers, and
I saw it too. They were good. I was pretty impressed.
It was nothing modern, but he had a decent list there, if I remember correctly. What were they?
Somebody get those rappers up. I think he said.
I got them. I'm pulling them up.
Yeah. One was Master P. I remember.
He said, "Do the Fat Boys count as one rapper?" And then he said, "All right, Jay-Z. I'm missing Master P. I'm giving you all the old ones. Lil Wayne. Wasn't he just at Arrowhead? Who was just at our place?" So the 3 he gave were Jay-Z, Master P, and Lil Wayne were his top 3 rappers.
That's some deep cut. The thing people forget about Master P is that like he's like a crazy producer. Like he not only was pretty rapper, but like he was the one that brought like a ton of people to the mainstream. Master P deserves his flowers in the rap game.
Also, Andy Reid afterwards, he was thinking of Lil Jon, not Lil Wayne, who performed during Kansas City's divisional round game against the Jaguars. So he was thinking of the wrong guy. And then he said
the same.
His final answer to that question was, "You've got to give me an easier question than that, doggone it."
Doggone it. Oh my God. The absolute. Oh, dude, that's so funny.
Here's a little Moreau that I didn't realize. Do you know Master P was very close to being a professional basketball player?
Did not.
He was actually in Charlotte Hornets training camp, on their training camp roster for 10 days, scored 7 points in an intra-squad game in 8 minutes. And then, he also spent time on the Toronto Raptors training camp roster. So, like
Vince Carter?
This says that Ricky Davis's dad was the one that was like, this guy needs to try out with the Hornets. And yeah, I'm sure Vince Carter was with the Raptors at that time because Vince Carter was with the Raptors forever. It'd be hard to find a period to be on the Raptors within the last 20 years where where Vince Carter wasn't there. So yeah, he interesting. And he apparently played for a bunch of like, lower level teams, but I mean, that's the highest level of ball. That's the highest level of military thinking.
Highest level military thinking. Nice callback. I'm like, sometimes you guys bring stuff up on the show, and I'm like, did that happen on the show?
I don't think that did. I think I actually mentioned that off the show. The level 9 thinking. For anyone wondering, that's my dad will say that's level 9 thinking. And if you ask him what the hell is level 9 thinking, he just says that's the highest level of military thinking.
Number one.
And he's never
level.
and he's never explained what that it actually is. I don't even think he knows. But
Self-explanatory.
Self-explanatory. I mean, it's the highest level of thinking. So you just gotta think. You just gotta think a little harder about it.
He's sitting there right now watching this, just laughing.
He is. Yeah. And I have no idea why.
It's like, what a dumbass kid.
I told him that was the highest.
I was going to say, referring to you right now, not in the past tense. What a dumbass kid.
Then and now.
Did you guys see the interaction that was reported on between a British reporter and Jalen Hurts?
Yeah, I did see this.
Did you see this?
Yeah.
The British reporter said to Jalen Hurts, "We must say, see you on TV, but you're much bigger in real life." And Jalen said, "I get that a lot." That's how I imagine that guy sounded. But a British reporter coming over and saw Jalen Hurts and was like, "Holy shit, you're big." Like, that's a big man. So big that he had to, like, first thing they said was, "You're so much bigger than what you look like on TV."
That is pretty funny. It just like slips out of her mouth.
I feel like that's like an appropriate reaction of someone like seeing a lot of things in the United States for the first time. Like, you pull up to a Walmart, you park next to an F-250, you see Jalen Hurts in person while interviewing him. Just all these things way bigger than they look on TV.
You get a medium soda here in America, and they're like, "Here you go."
What is the thing that people say to you guys when they meet you? Is there any like item like that where it's you constantly hear the same thing from people?
Yeah. They're usually like, "Holy smokes, you are so much more handsome, and you also smell better than I imagined."
Wow, they'd be thinking you smell like poo.
They do, yeah. But it turns out that I actually just smell just okay.
Just like Axe body spray.
What about you guys? What do they say about you guys?
For a little bit there was a time period where I feel like the length of my hair didn't show up on stream. It kind of hid behind, and people would be surprised. But now it's long enough that I feel like it's out in the open.
I feel like
I am what you see. Nobody has any comments on me.
I'll get the oh wow, you're way taller than I thought, but I'm not as tall as Jalen Hurts. I'm not like I'm just normally like normal size. Like, and then but I guess people are expecting me to be like 4 feet. So something about the energy I give off is that 4 foot energy.
4'6". Yeah, I'll give yourself some credit.
Yeah, 4 foot. You're right. 4'6".
Guys, coming up, we are going to solve the Weddle together like we've been doing daily. We've got a GOAT Super Bowl moments bracket coming up, and we're going to talk a little bit about that Super Bowl. We've got fantasy detectives, and then we're going to put together a DFS lineup for this weekend's game as well. Right now, you're watching the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
Green Screens Media back at it again with your BSN timeout. And today, we're bringing you our college basketball bubble report. With me, as always, the captain of our ship at Green Screens Media, Mr. Mike Holland. Mike got a fresh Lenardi bracketology breakdown. His last 4 in are Kentucky, West Virginia, Nevada, and Oklahoma State. His first 4 out include Texas A&M, Florida, Oklahoma, and Charleston. Looking at those last 4 in, any of those teams catching your eye?
Yeah, I want to talk about the Nevada Wolfpack out of the Strong Mountain West here. Coach Steve Alford's done an amazing job reassembling this roster after losing Grant Sherfield, Desmond Cambridge, and Warren Washington. This team is top 50 in offensive and defensive efficiency. It's really been the progression of senior guard Keenan Blackshear. He's been one of the most improved players in the country. He, along with Oregon State transfer guard Jared Lucas, who's averaging 17 points per game, they formed one of the most underrated backcourts in the country. Look, they have a tough stretch down the road here, but anything can happen when your backcourt's playing this well.
That backcourt is rock solid. I want to talk about Kentucky. It's kind of weird to see them on the fringe given how talented they are. They're playing well in conference. They've won 6 straight games in the SEC. They've also got some pretty quality losses on their resume as well. And obviously, they've still got Oscar Tshiebwe, so that's always going to be working in their favor. But it feels like someone like Reeves is going to need to chip in a bit more offensively. Playing in the SEC, it's going to be a tough stretch of games to close out the year. But ultimately, if they can rattle off a few more wins, I think they can solidify their spot.
Yeah, I think Coach Cal knows what he's doing. I expect to see Kentucky in the tournament. Let's slide on over to the first 4 out. Texas A&M, also in the SEC. Coach Buzz Williams, done a great job this year after slim preseason expectations. They have quality wins over Auburn, Missouri, Florida. Look, they've done it behind their guards here on offense, Wade Taylor and Tyrese Radford. But the emergence of big man Henry Coleman has been a big storyline here. They've been also very good on the defensive end. The road doesn't get any easier down the stretch here in the SEC, but 3 or 4 more quality wins in the final 8 should be enough to get them over the hump.
We will stick with the SEC. I'm going to talk about the Florida Gators, 13-10 on the season. It feels a bit more like an at-large kind of team. They're playing really strong defense. They're coming in ranked 10th in the nation in that regard. Still have Colin Castleton. He is the engine for this team on both ends of the floor, but I'm not sure if he by himself is going to be enough. So we're looking at players like Richard or Lofton or Jones maybe. One of these guys is going to need to step up. The good news for the Gators, they do have a chance to build their resume if they can heat up to close out SEC play. That will do it for your BSN timeout. Make sure you stay locked here on the Better Sports Network and check out Green Screens Media on Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube so you don't miss a minute of our college basketball coverage.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. JL, you smell those beans?
Oh, I smell them good.
Those
Been
are
smelling
some
them all
Wed-
morning.
Those
Letting them
are
rip.
some Weddle beans that we're about to start eating. Sorry, I just thought of something I saw yesterday. It was a picture of a pizza that was available in a British grocery store that was a bean pizza, like baked beans, like British style breakfast baked beans on a pizza, frozen pizza in the frozen section. You can throw it in your oven and you can have breakfast bean pizza.
Yeah.
You in? It's made by Heinz.
I feel like baked beans are got to be the garbage can of the bean world.
It is my least favorite of the beans, of all the beans that I can think of.
I don't know. I kind of like them. You're talking about the ones with the cans that got like the little piece of bacon in there and like brown sugar beans.
Mhm.
I like those, man. With some hot dogs. Well, actually, yeah, I'm not going to still be able to sell you guys by adding hot dogs. I got to.
Is that
To
what's in the normal
Tom-
barbecue flavor? Is it brown sugar? Is that the thing that makes it sweet?
It's brown sugar, and then they put like a little thing of like fat in there, like just straight.
In normal barbecue sauce, like the conventional
It
barbecue
depends
sauce?
on the sauce. Some sauces use brown sugar. Some will sweeten it with like applesauce. I've heard that, or apple cider vinegar.
I've never liked like regular barbecue sauce or baked beans, and I just realized it kind of is for the same reason. It's like too sweet.
I'm with you. I don't like the generic barbecue sauce flavor. Like if you go to
Yes.
a fast food restaurant and get a cup of barbecue sauce, I'm out.
Yeah.
But like if you go to a barbecue place and they make their sauce in house and they got like a vinegar-based sauce, I will dump
Mustard-based sauce.
every
Yeah.
last ounce of that on my plate. But I'm not dipping a single chicken McNugget into that McDonald's barbecue sauce cup.
No.
It's disgusting. Yeah, what I was gonna say is this time the smell is the smell of Weddle in the morning. We are undefeated. We have yet to lose a round of Weddle.
The best of the best of the best, sir.
We'll see if that changes today. But we got to get in there, see if we can knock it out. I do have a confession, a little bit related. On Wordle this week, I missed one. I missed one. I'd been on a streak of over 100, and I missed one this week. And like when it happens, it always takes a second to sink in. It's like, wait, like I did 112 of these in a row. How did I? That was my last
Start
guess. That was my last guess. It hurts.
You gotta erase the chalkboard. 0 days since Wordle.
It's been 0 days since our last Wordle incident.
Oh my
John,
god!
How do you come back from that though? Like now it's just the time to hang it up, dude.
Do it 112 times.
No, we got to keep going. It brings me joy every day, as does doing this Weddle. And I believe it's my turn to pick the player that we're starting with, if I'm not mistaken. Joe, you picked yesterday, right? Or no, dude?
I did not.
I was not here for Weddle yesterday, or was I?
You
was.
I don't know. What have we done the show before? I can't remember anything.
I'm picking a player.
Go for it.
The player that we are going to start with today is, I want to pick someone that's easy to build around. We're going to start with Darnell Mooney. is who we're
Moon
starting
Of
dog.
with.
course.
And we
Already
got
started
very
with
little
Weddle.
information.
We started with Mooney once, but I guess we should
I think that was Simon's pick last time.
we should say, guys, it was, and he also was like, I'm gonna pick a random player.
Yeah, I like how he has like a different reasoning every time.
Now I will say
I'm gonna
this:
pick a guy that I really think it might be this time.
anytime it's not Darnell Mooney, that means Mooney is equally a good guess next time.
It's a good point.
That's true.
That's a
So
good point. Yeah.
Mooney's, we can't make fun of it. Mooney's a good guess until it is the answer.
That's true. Sorry, Simon.
So we apologize to you.
Thank you. Thank you.
You did
I
a
mean,
terrible job
would-
because you
I
didn't
would-
get us much info. I will say that
I
today it
would
is not a
guide
good,
your apology towards Darnell Mooney, not towards me.
Sorry, Mooney.
He's a good Weddle guess. But you're right, Coop. We didn't get much information. We know he's in the NFC. That's what we know. Not a wide receiver, taller than 5'11", quite a bit, so 6'1" or taller. Younger than 25, so what, 22
Three.
or younger.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
23
because it would be yellow if it was 23. You're right.
So 5'8", or no,
Real young.
the other direction, 6'2" or taller, 22 or younger, number less than 11,
It's
8
QB.
or lower.
QB. It's QB.
It's definitely QB.
I think
Rookie, maybe rookie QB or sophomore QB.
Or-
23.
there's
Tight
one
end.
player. There's one tight end. It could be. There's one tight end. It could be. It could be Kyle Pitts because he's
He's
one of
number
the-
8.
number 8. He's over 5'11". He's under. I don't think we should guess Kyle Pitts though. I
And
think, we
he's in
should,
the NFC.
I think we should guess a quarterback because if we guess a quarterback and it's not a quarterback, then we know it's Kyle Pitts, right? So it's most likely a quarterback, but there is one
But
tight
if
end.
it's Kyle Pitts, we could get it in 2 guesses. The glory.
For the glory.
A groin.
What do you
I
guys
feel
wanna
like
do?
8 guesses is just generally like pretty lenient for the like all of us in the chat working together.
I think quarterback just gives us a better shot at getting it in 3.
In 3, you want to take the safe route, the conservative route,
I
which
think
I'm
I
fine
do.
with.
It's
Which
gonna hurt if
quarterback
it's-
then?
if it's
What are
gonna
we
hurt
looking
Simon,
if
you
at?
be the tiebreaker.
I
Well,
didn't
yeah,
know
you
it's-
pick a quarterback first, and then Simon will be the
Pickle,
tiebreaker. Pickle, Piper.
Piper.
I do not know the quarterback named Piper. Brock Purdy?
So an
Trey
NFC
Lance?
quarterback. Who you thinking, Coop?
Oh, I do. I wasted all my thinking on Kyle Pitts.
I
You guys gonna have to step in.
Then let's guess Kyle Pitts.
I already used my level 9 thinking on Kyle Pitts.
just
Well-
fought so hard for the other route, and then was like, "Oh yeah, no, I didn't actually
The
think
thing
about
is,
what
if
we
we
do
guess
with the route."
Kyle Pitts, we're probably going to be just back in the same exact situation we are now, trying to think of a single quarterback's name. It's
Or
not
we'll
Kyler.
be celebrating.
Let's
So-
rule out some guys. It's not Kyler Murray because he's too short, right? It's not. Who are some quarterbacks we can rule out because their number is higher than 9, right? There's
I don't know player numbers. Not a single one except for Tom Brady's.
like Dak Prescott. What number is he? 7. He's like
He's 4.
17, right? But he's
But he's
4.
too
old.
So he
He's
could be.
a 4.
He could. Well, but he's too old.
He's way too old. Yeah.
Guys,
There's
I
only-
have to interrupt here
Is
for
it
a
Justin?
second. I need to cancel out a player. I'm canceling out Kyle Pitts because I typed Kyle Pitts in during all of that commotion. We got very little information from it, though. It's definitely a quarterback. I thought we had agreed Kyle Pitts. Not in the NFC South, though, but still in the NFC. Under 6'6", but close in height. So 6'4" or 6'5". The age is correct. They are 22, and their number is lower than 8 and not close. So 5 or lower for their number.
This is why we need Simon to move this ship along because Coop and the
Yeah,
Hogs,
well-
Coop and the Hogs will still be debating.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Thank
Thank you,
you,
Si-
has
thank you.
absolutely no spatial awareness.
Thank you, Simon, for ripping off that Kyle Pitts Band-Aid. Now we can continue with our lives. So it's
Coop and I would be like we all go to the store. Simon brings us to the store, and Coop and I are wrestling in the aisle, like just roughhousing and making a mess.
Yes,
And saying, like, you never told us we couldn't fight in the frozen food aisle, specifically.
specifically
Shooting Nerf
that.
guns at-
Okay, so I
across
think
Greg
here
brings up a quarterback that I said a little bit earlier, Brock Purdy. I don't
You
know
gotta
his
guess.
number, but I feel like he fits all the other criteria.
we got to guess Purdy, and if it's not Purdy, it could be Trey Lance. We'll get.
Is he
if we-
over 6'1"?
Yeah, yeah, I think so.
He has to be 6'4". Brock Purdy's
Seems
tall,
like
right?
such a little guy in my head. Man, talk about like in TV making him seem smaller.
Oh, I guess Brock Purdy. The team is correct. The division is correct. The quarterback position
yeah.
is correct. It's Trey Lance, baby, right? We can go ahead and put that in there.
Yeah.
Trey Lance is correct. We have gotten it right. We're undefeated, 100%.
Yeah, I don't know, man. 3. I'm so accustomed to getting it in 3 that 4 doesn't feel quite the
Feels like
same.
a-
It
feels
feels
like a
nice.
loss.
It feels. I think 4 feels. 4 is that's like breaking even. Anything more than 4, I feel like it's kind of negative. Anything better than 3 is awesome, right? Is that you guys feel the same way, or
One day we'll get
That's
it in
fair.
1. That's
Oh,
when
It'll-
we've peaked.
Only
When
to make
it's-
that stupid Kyle Pitts pick.
the day that they make it Mooney?
The
day they make it
Mooney. No, the punch in the stomach is going to be the day they make it Mooney is going to be the day one of you two is picking the player, and it's not going to be Mooney. Or the kick in the nuts. If that's the punch in the stomach, the kick in the nuts is you guys decide to pick Mooney randomly one day, and it is Mooney, and you get it on the first try guessing the player that I like to guess.
Hmm.
All I want now is to punch you in the gut and kick you in the nuts.
Well, welcome in, Michael, on that note. He said, good morning, my favorite live FF show.
Good
What's up,
morning,
Michael?
Michael? Welcome in, my friend.
Welcome in. And Dustin said 3 is great. 4 is above average. 5 is average. 6 and below is below average.
Is that just for the individual? Is that the individual metric system or how we're measuring individual success? Because I feel like as a group, it's got to be easier.
Yeah, a little bit more thinking. I don't know. It makes me feel better, Dustin's scale. So I kind
That's
of
true.
like that. I kind of like
That's
it. Let's stick
I
with
feel
that.
like that's like
Okay,
the
let's go with
Cracker
Dustin's.
Barrel scale. Like if this Weddle was on a little triangle at the Cracker Barrel, that's the scale that they would give you at the bottom to tell you how you did.
Let's say if you get it in 4, that's like the top, I don't know, 0.1%. And then anything after that is like the rest of the 99%.
So
Fair.
we're the best? Yeah,
So
that's
we're the
fair.
best.
That sounds about right.
Top of the bottom of our class.
Scott in here says this time next week, I'll be hanging with Mr. Cooper in Vegas.
Scott, I hate to break it to you, but I am unfortunately not going to be going to the FSGA.
I was really hoping you were gonna say I hate to
I
break it
know.
to you, but I'll see you
Yeah.
next week.
I hate to break it to you, Scott, but I don't really like you, so I'm going to be high.
I'll be there, but we're not gonna be talking.
Just dodging you. Just- Scott walks by and I like hunch over like a slot machine, and I'm like, nah, I don't think the only fantasy alarm guys going this year are Howard. I think Howard Bender's going to go, and maybe Ronis. I'm going to stay here and hold down the show. So it's going to be Coop and the Coop. You guys, I think you might bring some equipment and come on, right? Otherwise, we'll have
We'll figure it out.
some, we'll get some Joey Wright, maybe some
Joey Badass.
some Tim Wright. We'll get the Wright brothers on. We'll have a little fun. So it'll be a good time. Oh, special
Everybody
guest.
who
You're just
comes
gonna have
on,
to hang
we-
with us, Scott.
All right, now I'm pulling up flights.
Dustin wants us to do the hard Weddle today.
Ooh.
Wants to do the hard Weddle. Let's do it. It's been a minute. We've done it one time.
He's saying that because he's giving us information that it's not going to be an obscure lineman.
Or it is going to be an obscure lineman and he wants to humiliate us.
Oh, damn it. That makes way more sense than my idea.
Coop, what player are we starting with here?
Flights are cheaper today than they were the other day to Vegas. Maybe I do slide in. We'll see. I think
That would be
this one-
hilarious if Scott Fish with a single YouTube comment gets you to completely
You
change.
said I had something special for you. Now I'm like, could
How
be
do
a
you
fanny.
get to the hard mode?
It could be a fanny pack.
You click the
That's all I'm saying.
settings, then toggle on hard mode, and then it gets going. We got 10 guesses. This could be any player, I believe. I'm not mistaken. Coop, where are we
Richie
starting?
James.
Richie James? Is that where we're starting?
I think
No.
I think linemen are the most difficult to get, in my opinion. So offensive linemen. So I think I want to start with a position where there's 2 of each of them. Let's start with Quentin Nelson.
Quentin Nelson as the first guess. Okay, well, not much information there. The team is wrong. The division, wrong completely. So we know they're in the NFC. The position, wrong, not yellow. So it's on the wrong side of the ball. So it's a defensive player. The height is way shorter than 6'5". The age is close to 26, so 27 or 28, and the number is way lower than 56.
Okay. With the number being low in 56, I'm feeling. I mean, with the height, weight, could be defensive back. maybe a corner
So
or
it could be a
safety.
kicker or a special team. Like it could be a kicker or a punter as well.
Let's go with a defensive player, and then if it isn't a defensive player, then we'll be looking pretty good for kicker and punter, right?
How tall
So
is AJ Terrell?
I thought about AJ Terrell probably because I think it was like an immediate view whenever you click the drop down. What was the question you asked about AJ Terrell? The age?
How
tall?
How
How
tall?
tall? Oh, I don't know. 6'2"?
I think he's still younger. He's fairly young. I think he might be.
Yeah,
Oh,
he's not
yeah,
too
he's
big.
too young. He's too young.
There's not a lot of.
If it's a kicker, what side of the ball is it on?
Special
Like-
teams, offense, defense, special teams is how they break it up. Here, kicker would be part of the.
Oh, because it
special
doesn't
teams.
tell you. Okay, I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, so the position will turn yellow if you're on the same side of the ball. We know this player is not on offense, so that means they're defense or special teams, and they are in the NFC.
Why don't we try?
Better boss in the chat said, "My man Richie James." Say his name. Say his name, and Matt appears.
It's not Richie James, dude. It's a defensive player. We know that at least. How about let's do maybe one of the Eagles corners, right? Darius Slay, James Slay, and Bradbury are. Oh, they might be a little too old. No, they're not.
27, 28 is the age that we're looking for.
Yeah, that's Darius.
I feel
Maybe
like they're a couple years over.
maybe
Like
Marshawn.
maybe just 20 to 29.
Marshawn Lattimore. How old is he?
I think that's a good one. He
What's
might
his
be
number?
29.
I don't know what number he is.
He's-
I have no idea what number.
All right, let's try that.
Yeah, let's try Lattimore.
He might be exactly 26.
Okay, we got some more information. Not on defense either, apparently. So it is a special teams player.
That's great. That's great.
They
news.
are in the NFC. The height is exactly 6 foot. Marshawn Lattimore is 26, so we didn't get any new information there. And then their number is lower than 23. So this is a special teams player in the NFC who is exactly 6 feet tall, but not in the NFC South.
All right. Well, let's find out if it's a kicker. Oh my god, what if it's like a long snapper?
Let's go with Seahawks kicker. What's his name again?
Piano?
Is he still the kicker?
I don't know.
No, it's Jason Myers.
Jason Myers. How old is he?
I don't know.
Feels
Let's
a little
try
than
it.
that. Try it.
Jason
He
Myers.
is probably older.
Oh, he's 31. But NFC West is correct. Kicker is correct. Younger than 31, number higher than 5. So we got the division right, JL.
So it's not the Cardinals kicker because he is $1 million. That's their kicker is. They brought him over from the Lions.
Past
right?
century.
Yeah.
Robbie
He's,
Gould.
Gould.
Could be Gould.
Gould feels old.
Gould's older. Yeah, Gould's older. Is he or is he just bald?
That's a important question. So
Keenan Allen has the same thing happen to him. People have thought Keenan Allen was like an 8-year veteran since his second year in the league. They always talk about him like he's ancient, and then he's like the same age as some of these other guys. He's just bald.
He's just
Okay.
bald, yeah.
All right. Well, it's either Robbie Gould or it's Matt Gay, right? Because it's not the Cardinals kicker. So
Yeah.
Cardinals kicker is Akers, or no? Is it?
Cam Akers.
No,
He
it's
plays for the team.
Couldn't cut it as a running back.
somebody tell me who the Cardinals kicker is. He came over from the. I'm thinking David Akers. He was a kicker for the
Is it
Lions a
Prater?
long time ago. It's Matt Prater, and it's not Matt Prater's not the answer because Matt Prater is older. He's
Really
much
old.
older.
I think
Yeah,
I like
'cause he
Matt
played at
Gay.
Detroit for a while.
Matt Gay.
Yeah,
No,
let's
Prater.
try Matt Gay.
Yeah.
Get him in there. One of these
Matt Gay
teams
is the correct answer. It is
Accidentally
Matt Gay.
clicked Willie Gay.
Oh my God! I am the winner.
Woo,
4
3.
tries.
Above
Joe, you
average.
said you did it in 3?
Didn't we do it in 3?
we
Quentin
got it in
Nelson,
4.
Marshawn Lattimore, Jason Myers. Oh yeah, Jason Myers
Matt
is not
Gay.
the answer, JL.
We should do these. These are. I mean, chat. Tell us. Do you guys like when we do these, or should we not do these? Like, just tell us.
Good,
you know?
bad,
Good, bad,
good,
indifferent.
bad.
Medium?
Michael Cobot making a request. When's the next mock draft episode? When are we
Yo,
doing
I
mock
was
draft,
just Michael. I was just wrote this down last night that we got to start doing mock drafts on this show. It's now mock draft season. We could totally do it. Share the links.
I'm down.
I think we might do it next week.
I'm
Yeah,
down.
maybe let's
with
get
the
a mock draft in here
Little
next
startup. Little startup mock draft.
We'll
Dino?
start up. Yeah, we'll figure it out. Figure out the details. We could totally do it.
Let's just do underdog drafts. Are those open
Get
yet?
the chat in there.
Can you do 2023 underdog redraft best ball drafts yet?
Oh, I'm sure.
That would be
Probably.
That would be insane.
Dustin in here saying, good. He likes the Weddle that we're doing. He likes that we're doing it over there.
Good. Yeah, I like
And
that.
Craig said,
Okay.
fun to play along with. This is the only time I have tried Wordle or the like.
Oh, nice.
And Michael saying the Weddle would be better if we saw the screen. 100% agree.
And
We should.
Better Boss, you hear that? Better Boss giving the thumbs up. Would be cool if we could see it. And Tommy with a great guest. Kiki Peterson.
Kiki Peterson. It's like it's like whoever's in charge of naming our segments is in charge of naming a human.
Right. Oh,
Kiki Peterson.
He used to fill his shoe with nickels to kick the ball, Father. Back in the heyday. He used to fill his shoe with hay pennies.
Hay pennies. The heck is a hay penny?
Is
that a penny made of hay?
A hay penny is
no clue.
unnecessary and superfluous in all economic exchanges. That's why it was
Agreed.
outlawed in 1874. Never to be seen again.
A penny was the half cent, the smallest denomination of the United States ever minted, and it was minted in 1793, and then they got rid of that noise.
Bet I can mint a smaller one.
Depends on your definition of mint. Like whatever. I don't know what you're thinking of with that verb right there.
York.
There was a time period in high school where I read like an article that they were going to stop making the penny. I'm gonna kill you. I read the whole thing about them not making the penny anymore, that they were going to stop making it, take it out of circulation. And I thought, oh, this is my way to get rich when I'm older. I'm going to collect so many pennies, and then I'm going to sell them in like 50 years when all the pennies are gone. And so I went to the bank like a couple times with like, here's a $20 bill. Can I have this in pennies? Can I have this in pennies? Can I have this in pennies? And I collected like tens of thousands.
You were exchanging dollar bills, like $20 bills with these
pennies? I'd go in with a 50 and ask for pennies, bring in like mason jars. I had friends who would give me gifts. You were basically
like reverse coin starring the bank?
I was reverse coin starring the bank, but only for their pennies. I still have those somewhere, just jars of tens of thousands of pennies. In case they ever stop making that penny, I'm loaded up.
That's hilarious. You're just going to be left with the same amount of money that you had before.
Or less, because they go out of circulation.
Probably less,
and
inflation.
And I have to sell them all? Like what am I going to sell them and ship them individually? Now I have to ship 35,320 pennies.
Right. If like 20 years ago, according to everyone older than me, you could buy a Coke for a nickel and finance your entire house for a nickel. What is the penny going to be worth in 20 years from now?
Also, Dustin coming in here saying they just stopped making pennies like last year. How did I miss that news? There's no way they stopped making pennies. I'm the penny hoarder.
You got them all, dude.
Oh, we're ready. My plan is finally kicking into action.
They're going to come. They're going to come for you, bro.
Break down the doors. Where's the copper?
Where's the
It's Pennywise.
Get them, boys.
Guys, we got a bracket that we're going to get into now. And this bracket is all about the GOAT Super Bowl moments. We got the Super Bowl coming up this weekend. We're going to talk about some of the greatest of all time moments in Super Bowl history. We got some listed on here. I'm going to run through some of these, or do you guys want to go through these? Do you guys want to hit them matchup by matchup and reveal them at that time, or do you want to?
Let's reveal them.
Go through and list them.
No, let's reveal them as we go. Now we can list them. The thing is,
list them and then we'll go into more detail whenever the matchup is.
There were some, so I helped put some of these in here. I just want to let people know there are so many good moments. I apologize if some have been left off. And I did my best. There's not two for the same team. So there are some teams that just have a bunch of really cool ones, and you can't put them all on there, right? So
yeah, there's only 8, so we'll
you get one Giants one, you get one Patriots one, right? Also, it's like there are a bunch I wish I could have got on here. So we'll go through that as we hit the bracket. But I just want to apologize in advance if your favorite team's moments on there. Let's just say it was number 9. Okay.
Let's do it. Here we go. We got David Tyree's helmet catch. We've got the Philly special back in 2018. Malcolm Butler's game-winning interception in 2015, Devin Hester returning the opening kickoff for a touchdown. The Saints onside kick coming out of halftime, recovered. We've got Janet Jackson's nip slip during the halftime show. the longest yard, which was the Rams stopping Kevin Dyson at the 1 yard line. And then the catch, Joe Montana to Dwight Clark. These are the 8 moments we're going to be discussing here. One's going to come out on top as the GOAT Super Bowl moment of all time. Also, I see Tommy in the chat. He's going to be upset. We don't have the Marcus Allen run in there. Didn't make the cut. That was number 9, Tommy. That was number 9.
That was right number there. 9. That was number 9. Also tied at number 9. And what stinks, maybe we could take the Janet Jackson nip slip out, but there probably should be a Steelers moment in there. Steelers had a couple. The San Antonio Holmes catch was awesome. And also the reason neither of them made it in there is that I couldn't decide which one to pick. The other one was the James Harrison in 100+ yard interception in the Super Bowl against the Cardinals.
I'm so hyped for the Super Bowl. I just feel like it kind of hit me yesterday where I was just like, oh my God, that's this week.
Yeah. Mike, should we put the Steelers? Should we put the Steelers toe tap catch in over Janet Jackson, or is it Janet Jackson?
Before we pull out the Janet Jackson nip slip, Tommy came in with an update, and I fact checked it, and I see Keith over here as well. The catch, the Joe Montana play, was not in the Super Bowl. That was to get to the Super Bowl. That was the NFC Championship game.
Take it out. Take it out.
So that was not in there.
Not to mention, that's not even that good of a catch, bro. That's like a run-of-the-mill catch. If you go back and watch that highlight, it's like the dude gets like this far off the ground. He gets both hands on the ball. I mean, I've seen Odell Beckham catch the ball one hand over his back with his eyes shut, wearing a $1 million watch on his wrist. Like,
yeah, he just caught it with like the tip of his fingertip, and it just immediately started spinning like a basketball.
That's what I'm saying, dude. Like I've seen better catches, dude. The catch is just like, whatever. So,
can you guys spin a basketball on your finger?
For a second, I can do the one where it goes like around your arms like this.
I can if I don't have to prove it.
Oh yeah, I can dunk.
I forgot about that skill until right now, and I've just decided I need to go learn how to do that now. I've always wanted to know. Perfect.
Now you know what you're doing today.
Yep. Yeah, Jail's like, cancel all my meetings. He says to himself, and then he's like, I'll be right back, guys.
Say to Rosie, Rosie, cancel all my meetings.
Done. Got it. Well, guys, our first matchup here, we've got David Tyree's helmet catch going up against the Philly special. Coop, you wanna set the scene for us a little bit with that David Tyree helmet catch?
I mean, I could set the scene for both these. They both hurt my feelings real bad as a Patriots fan. This is the one I actually didn't put in the bracket. So I didn't put this matchup in. They both have to be in there. Both these plays. The David Tyree helmet catch is the Patriots were the favorite. Probably the greatest. It's the only, put it this way, it's the only time that Las Vegas has ever lost money on the Super Bowl. The Patriots were coming in, going for the undefeated season against a Giants team that had a good defense, but in general were kind of middle of the pack team. The Patriots were up big. All they really needed to do was stop the Giants, and the game would be over. Eli Manning drops back. The pocket collapses. Guys are getting hands on him. He somehow gets away and chucks it downfield. Rodney Harrison, perfect coverage on David Tyree, and David Tyree manages to pin the ball against his helmet, making the catch. So absolutely crucial play and determine the outcome of that game. And honestly, Eli Manning might not be in the Hall of Fame if it wasn't for that play. The Philly special, on the other hand, that one, of course, incredible shootout game. A game where Tom Brady in that game threw for 500 yards and like 3 touchdowns and lost. And the Philly special is, it was a 4th down play. No, it was a 2-point conversion, right? Or was it 4th down?
It was a 4th down play.
4th down play. You have to have it in the end zone. They run a throwback pass to the quarterback, Nick Foles, to score. And what makes it even sweeter is the Patriots tried the throwback pass to Tom Brady, and he dropped it right in his hands. So Nick Foles comes out, does what couldn't be done. If do you want me to vote on mine right now after weighing them down, or what do you think?
Yeah, and my favorite part of that Philly special story is the narrative that came out after it of Nick Foles just walking up to Doug Peterson and being like, "You want Philly?" And Doug Peterson being like, "Yeah, let's do it." And then they went out and did like that moment in like the most competitive environment you can be in. The backup quarterback walks up to the head coach and says, hey, 4th and 1 in the Super Bowl. You want to run a trick play where I catch the touchdown? And the coach is like, hell yeah.
Hell yeah, I do. You already know. Philly, baby. So yeah, for me, like when I look at these two plays, David Tyree catch is incredible. It's iconic, but there are some things about that play when you go back and watch it where when you look at the guys that get their hands on Eli Manning, looked a bit suspiciously like a holding call. You know what I mean? So it was kind of dicey in that sense, that particular play. The Philly special, like the way that things came together on that particular play, like not only is this the quarterback, but it's the backup quarterback, right? Like not only is it the Eagles, who had already lost the Super Bowl to the Patriots, hadn't really won anything. Their fans, kind of desperate for a win, right? This guy comes in, calls his own number, calls his own shot, and it's just a perfect
Nick Foles calling his own shot.
Nick Foles, and it's just a perfect pure play. And like I even as a Patriots fan, I have to admit, like after the game when they're playing that Meek Mill's Dreams and Nightmare song, and it's like, hold up, wait a minute. Y'all thought after we finished like that. The whole scene just gets me fired up. So I have to pick the Philly special of these two.
Philly special for Coop. One vote that way. Man, this is already tough on the first matchup. And Coop, you mentioned this being the only one you didn't put in the bracket. I did put these two against each other purposefully for you.
Thank you.
So that you wouldn't have to have like there was a world where these two advanced, right? And the whole time you're suffering through those Patriots losses over and over again. I'm just gonna rip the Band-Aid off, get it off in one. John Luke, where's your vote going here? Are you following Coop with the Philly special, or is that helmet catch going to do it for you?
Coop laid it out perfectly, and I actually fully agree with the reasoning behind it too. Where watching the David Tyree's helmet catch, incredible catch, but we also see catches like that throughout the season, right? We see these kind of almost absurd physical feats, physical catches from players all the time, and so that one seemed like the implications were important for that game, of course, but I completely agree with Coop that the cojones it takes to call that play, the Philly special, at that moment, to me was much higher stakes, way higher risk. So I got to go with Philly special.
Both plays were absurd. One was absurd on purpose. One was designed to be absurd. One was a mad play between a backup quarterback. It was like, let's go for it. Know what I mean? The other one happened to be absurd. That wasn't their plan to catch it on their helmet. I'm going with the planned absurdity of Doug Peterson and Nick Foles on the sideline. And I hate that the helmet catch is getting swept. It probably deserves a little bit of love, but we're talking the greatest of all time. And that Philly special just stands out to me. That moment, dude, I'm just like, I can feel the tension between those two whenever we talk about that moment. I don't get that same feeling when we're talking about the other one. Moving on, Philly special into the second round over David Tyree's helmet catch. Sorry, Giants fans. The Philly specials moving on. We got our next matchup. We got Malcolm Butler's interception in the 2015 Super Bowl, and then Devin Hester returning the opening kickoff back in 2007. Coop, we just talked a lot of negative about the Patriots, but now we got a decently positive Patriots play sitting in here right now with the Malcolm Butler interception. For those of you that don't remember this one going on, this is the infamous play where every single person in the entire world thinks that all the Seahawks had to do was run the ball one more time with Marshawn Lynch, with beast mode in that Super Bowl. All they had to do, Pete Carroll calls up a pass play, Malcolm Butler intercepts it in the end zone. Patriots win the Super Bowl. So Malcolm Butler won that game for the Patriots with that interception off of the perceived mistake of not handing the ball to Marshawn Lynch. Makes you a little happier, right, Coop?
Yeah, I feel better now. This is tough, though, because this is such a tough matchup.
It does have a tough matchup. And then the next one, Devin Hester returning the kickoff in 2007 Super Bowl to start the game. Opening kickoff return, takes it back for a touchdown. What a way to start a Super Bowl.
Wow.
Greatest kickoff returner of all time, doing it on opening kickoff, or Malcolm Butler securing a Super Bowl with an interception in the end zone, picked off against Russell Wilson. JL, you've got the first vote. Where are you rolling here?
Oh, man. I was trying to throw this poll up in the chat. I'm not gonna go. The interception moment makes me mad. The Pete Carroll one, 2015, because you're right, Simon. Everyone in the world does think that Pete Carroll should have called a different play. And I've talked about this on the show, but it's actually mathematically when you break down the probability here, it was a smart decision that Pete Carroll made there, and it bothers me that the world, the masses don't see that, or they're can't comprehend that. So that one makes me too angry to do it. I have to go with a Devin Hester kickoff return.
One vote for the Devin Hester kickoff return from JL. And Bill, I hear you. I hear you. But it being at the end of the game, the clarity with which I remember that moment, that like it was certain that the Seahawks were going to win that Super Bowl. Like I feel like to myself and everybody watching, we were just waiting for Marshawn Lynch to run it in, and the Seahawks were going to win. That was a Seahawks championship. Russell Wilson was getting another Super Bowl. It was one of the few like truly shocking sports moments with those kind of implications that I can remember, like where my jaw dropped, like, oh my God, I can't believe what just happened. And for that reason, I think I'm voting for that one. Like it completely in a second shifted a narrative that was believed to be true. The Seahawks are your Super Bowl champions. Oh, wait, no, they're not. Malcolm Butler has the football. Game over. Patriots win. I'm voting for that one, which means Coop, it comes down to you. Patriots fan, but you did say this was a tough matchup with the kickoff return.
It's a tough matchup. And I laid it out earlier in this show that like that kickoff return, go back and watch it. It's so cool, man. And it really shows like how Devin Hester, because there's so many examples of him going back and forth across your screen and doing crazy spin moves and stuff. But this one really shows that his vision, like this guy was like Neo looking into the Matrix. Like he knew where he needed to go and when he needed to get there, but he doesn't go there right away. Like he waits for the blocks to unfold and then gets over and then zap, gonzo, man. Like, and it set the tone and changed the course of the direction of that Super Bowl, but not as much as a Malcolm Butler. I mean, Malcolm Butler won the game, right? And gave us all the iconic, the oh no from Richard Sherman, the picture of Richard Sherman trying to shake hands with Tom Brady. Just for me, that moment, of course, it has a special place in my heart. And it's one of those ones where you very, very rarely do we get a chance to sit here and say, how could this possibly happen? Like, I personally was sitting there. I thought the only way it could happen would be a fumbled snap or stuffing Marshawn Lynch. I didn't think in a million years there'd be an interception there. And when it did happen, it was just, I wish you guys could have been there in a room full of Patriots fans. It was like drunk Patriots fans. Like, I think I was covered in like slobber just from me and my buddies being like, ah, you know what I mean? It's just one of my favorite moments all the time. So I have to pick the Malcolm Butler one, but I wanted to give respect to the Devin Hester one because that is such a cool one. That was such a cool one.
Nicholas Danuccio, and you're saying agreed. Pats fans were already crying. Then the tears became happy tears all at once.
Yeah, it was rough. It was rough. And then, that's why it's like now I don't take it for granted anymore. And I love seeing other teams, like have their success and have their moments. So give me the Malcolm Butler Super Bowl one, the interception. I got to take that one, of course.
Malcolm Butler moving on. Dustin in here cracking me up with his criteria. Very objective. A scoring play beats a drive extender on the last one. Easy peasy. And then on this one, securing the W beats a scoring play. Okay, that makes sense.
Was the whole game, man.
Game over.
Wait. Okay, so I guess not all cases you would be scored.
W.
Yeah, but it doesn't necessarily have to be a scoring play to secure a dub.
Exactly.
You're right,
interception.
Jay. And I think the best way to, because they have those 538 has those like win percentage charts where they say like, okay, like based on everything we know about football, the odds of this team winning at this point are, they have the graph where it's like this team's at 97%. I think like the best way to determine that is what play has the biggest swing in that chart. And I don't think you're ever going to find a bigger swing than the one with the Malcolm Butler interception, right? Where it's like that chart was probably sitting there at like 98% and then it flipped all the way down to 99%, right? On the other team.
Right.
As we're going to move into our next matchup now. First up, we have back in Super Bowl 44, the Saints onside kick against the Indianapolis Colts coming out of halftime down 10-6 to start the second half. Sean Payton says it was inspired by his mentor, Bill Parcells, gives him all the credit in designing that play. And they recovered it. It was instrumental in securing that victory for the Saints that year. They wanted to steal a possession. The moment that it's going up against is maybe one of the most infamous, no, without a doubt, the most famous or infamous Super Bowl halftime show moment of all time.
It
The
certainly
Janet Jackson,
moved the probability chart more than any of these other plays.
without a doubt, the
Easy.
Janet Jackson nip slip in her halftime performance with Justin Timberlake up on stage. For those of you who were unaware of Nipplegate, her nipple was exposed by Justin Timberlake for about half a second. And then afterwards, it did have a big effect on things because there was like major crackdowns on like live broadcasting and broadcasting rights and all of those different things. Like
if that happened
world
today,
changed after that,
it would barely be news.
It had a big effect on me as a 15-year-old lad. I'll tell you that right now.
I just remember at wrestling practice the next day, that was all anyone was talking about. I was like 10, 12 years old.
It changed It changed the probabilities for sure. The probabilities of me getting a boner.
Nice.
Are we not supposed to say that on this show?
So as soon as you started saying that, I started smelling Axe body spray.
Does that smell like chocolate?
Change the probabilities that day, boys. Change the yeah.
Nope, just BO and Axe.
Is that BO or casual misogyny?
I almost died that day, boys, from giving my buddies high fives.
Well, guys, my vote here, although that is an iconic moment, it did not have an effect on the outcome of the game. And like I said earlier, I love planned absurdity. I love in these biggest moments, the moments that define a coach's and a player's career, to come out and say, I'm going to kick an onside kick. Like it was done against Clemson in the national championship. Alabama did it against Clemson in the national championship game. And I was so mad, but was like, damn it. Like, know what I mean? Like it was like a respectful mad kind of thing. I'm going to vote for the Saints onside kick here. But shout out to Janet Jackson. You deserve some respect for that moment. Where's your vote going?
I believe I'm next on this one. The Saints onside kick, amazing. And I actually didn't know that Bill Parcells inspired that until you just said that, Simon. And I wish I could have seen Bill Parcells wherever he was, just like the smile on his face, being like, "You done good, kid." You know,
he was quoted as saying when talking to Peyton about designing this play, he said, "I said you've got to have what to win this game. In other words, don't be afraid to take a chance because there's a lot on the line."
There you go.
Just picture him saying it.
I probably should have said what instead of boner. But too late now, right? I cat's out of the bag. So anyway,
Tommy said one of the worst days of my life. I think because you said boner, if I don't read the comment above.
I think that's sorry about that, dude. Yeah. So, but speaking of boners, the
Tommy's like, oh,
yeah, the Janet Jackson nip slip. Here's the thing about that a lot of people don't know is that, and why I tell you right now is I'm going to give the nod to the nip slip, is that it turns out that moment had an even bigger cultural impact that to this day, to this very moment on this show matters, which is that at the time, there was no real way to share videos online. And that video, people kept trying to post it places and it kept getting taken down to the point where a handful of college kids, Chad Hurley, Stephen Chen, and Jawad Kareem, actually not college kids, they worked at PayPal at the time. They decided to create their own platform where you could just share whatever videos you want. And that was one of the big reasons, because they were like, there should be a place where anyone can share whatever video they want. And the name of that website was YouTube. And that is the platform that a lot of you guys are watching the show on right now. In fact, you guys right in this moment are about to hit that like button and hit that subscribe button. And that couldn't possibly have happened unless Justin Timberlake pulled out Janet Jackson's nipple on live TV. So thank you to Justin Timberlake for supporting the show. Big fan of the show, I imagine he is.
So you're saying that Janet Jackson and Justin Timberlake are our mommy and papa?
I'm not saying that they're kind of executive producers of this show, but they probably deserve more credit than Keith.
I like to describe it like to say, these are my parents, executive producers of my life.
Janet Jackson and Justin Timberlake.
Yeah,
We wouldn't be here without him. That's all I'm saying.
that is
wouldn't.
a very
wouldn't.
good point, dude.
We actually wouldn't. How crazy is that?
Well, it's 1-1, JL. Where's your vote going? Who's moving on?
It's 1-1. My favorite part about the nip slip moment was
Was the
all
nipple.
of these was the nipple, but the second favorite part, my second favorite part of that was just how like slightly ambiguous the like proving whether it was intentional or not was. Like that was just the whole conversation afterwards. Like, did he do it though? Was it on purpose?
Right.
And
Did
there's
she tell
nothing
him
he
to
could have
do it?
said. Yeah, that was the fun. And I feel like no matter which way they said, it still has doubt. I'm like, So I love that aspect. That I'm going Janet Jackson's nip slip. Let's go.
Janet Jackson's nip slip. Moving on to the next round. A little bit of an upset, but it was a culturally defining moment. We've got our last first round matchup here. The longest yard, Rams stopping Kevin Dyson at the 1 yard line in 2000, the Rams Titans Super Bowl, or Santonio Holmes toe tap catch in the 2009 Steelers Cardinals Super Bowl. To send you back a little bit for each of these, in that Rams Titans Super Bowl, this was one of the most dramatic endings to a Super Bowl. The Titans were down 16-0, but came back to tie it 16-16 with a little over 2 minutes remaining. Tennessee got down again. Kurt Warner hit Isaac Bruce for a 73-yard touchdown, and they needed to go 88 yards in less than 2 minutes. They got to the 1 yard line. And they had one final play to try to score the game-tying touchdown. The Titans quarterback McNair completed his final pass of the game to Kevin Dyson, who did everything he could to make it across the goal line. But they brought him down 1 yard short of the end zone. Didn't quite make it all the way there. I misspoke a little bit. They were on the 10-yard line, but they got stopped 1 yard short. They got 87 yards, 6 of them coming on that last play, or 9 of them coming on that last play from the 10-yard line down to the 1 yard line. The Santonio Holmes toe tap catch, I feel like, is often considered the greatest Super Bowl catch of all time. Like, just if we're looking at catches, their impact, and the type of catch, right? Like the difficulty of the catch plus the impact of the catch in that game is viewed as one of the greatest of all time. The Steelers were down by 3 with 42 seconds left. Roethlisberger chucks the ball up, but Santonio Holmes goes up, makes a toe tap catch in the corner of the end zone. The ruling was challenged. The play was upheld, and that touchdown ended up being the game-winning touchdown for the Steelers.
Triple coverage in the back
Triple
corner of the end zone.
If you like, I can't sell how unbelievable of a catch that was. Type in that video on YouTube, go watch it. He goes up there, makes the immaculate reception by DeAndre Hopkins look like child's play.
It's not only is it triple coverage, but they're all 3 of them in front of him, and Santonio Holmes is in the back right corner of the end zone. And so just to make that catch and thread it over 3 defenders is wild.
It's like if you wanted to, like if someone was like, "What's the perfect throw?" Like you could. That's the video you should pull up, like the perfect throw and catch, because not only is it the perfect throw in triple coverage and the catch, like the way he grabs it, but talk about like an absolute textbook toe tap, right? Both toes tight, clearly in bounds. Like a single tear probably rolled down Chris Carter's cheek when he made that play, you know? So, I mean, and not to mention, like, it goes to show how important it is winning compared to losing. That, like, a lot of people don't even remember that the Cardinals were in that game, right? Everyone knows Big Ben won 2 Super Bowls. They know the Steelers won, and like people forget that the Cardinals even made it to the Super Bowl, right? It's just like that play changed everything. It really did. So humongous play. That being said, with the other one, I remember distinctly where I was. I was at my house. We had a bunch of people over for the Super Bowl, and we had a Rams mega fan in the house by the name of Auntie Coopy. Absolute Coopy. Big fan of the show, big fan of the Rams. And we're all watching that game. We're all fairly young. And I got some of my buddies with me, a bunch of my buddies I played football with. And Coop was sitting at the computer desk, and she brought all her Rams stuff with her. Like, I'm saying all of it. She had like a shrine with like, like little Rams
You
stuff.
just call her Coop?
Yeah, Auntie Coop. So she had like everyone in my family.
We'll call her Coop, and she
everyone,
calls you Coop.
Everyone in my family.
They just walk around going, "What's up, Coop? How's it going, Coop?
Hey, Coop."
That's it. Welcome to Thanksgiving. So
Now that I think about it, my dad 100% does that with his friends. They all call each other Murray.
What?
I don't know.
Are any of them named Murray?
No, and I grew up. My dad's like closest friend. I grew up my whole life calling him Mr. Murray.
That's
not even
like
his name. His name's Jeff Perry.
That's such dad stuff, dude. Just call
But I
each
thought his
other.
name. I'd like, and they never explained that to me as a kid. They're just like, "Yeah, Mr. Murray."
You don't get it. That's level 9 thinking, dude.
Level 9 thinking, the highest level of military thinking.
That's the highest level, dude. Mr. Murray. So yeah, so Auntie Coop, Auntie Coop is sitting there with all her stuff, and we're watching the end of the game. She is getting like all nervous, and my buddy Pat Noon was sitting in front of her, and he was like a running back, so one of the smaller kids. And when that play happened, I swear to God, she grabbed him by the shoulder, like the arms, and just threw him across the room. Like he left his feet. He was like this, like you see in cartoons where like they go to throw somebody, like Will Smith getting thrown out of the house, and then it's just like a limp body flying across the room. That was my buddy Pat, and she just went absolutely berserk, and she deserved it because it was the most amazing moment. So for me, that moment is always going to be one of my top all time. So I got to go with the stop, the Rams victory. Shout out.
The stop for Coop, and Tommy's agreeing with you in the chat, saying those were both awesome, but the stop was crazy. Had 50 people at his house for that one. Said he can vividly remember where he was for every one of these moments. John Luke, you agreeing with Coop here? Is it going to be the stop for you, or is it going to be the Santonio Holmes toe tap catch?
I got to go with the toe tap catch. I was only 5 when the other one happened, so I don't have any distinctive memories of it, really, live at least. The other one I do have memories of. I was a little bit older. I think I was 14 or something. So I'm going to go with Santonio Holmes toe tap catch.
When I look at these two, I look at two of the things that make watching sports fun, like two different emotions. Whenever a quarterback steps back for a Hail Mary, it's hope, right? You're sitting there, you're just like, you're hopeful. What if they catch it? But on the other side, there's the tension, just the aversion of misery that comes with coming up with like a goal line stop to win a Super Bowl. Like I think back to college and like some of the greatest games, I think about these long passes at the end of the game to win, but also the moments where it's 3rd and 1 with 7 seconds left on the 1 yard line. Our defense is out there and they just have to get the stop to win the game. That tension and then the payoff of getting it is almost like a more intense feeling than the hope plus the payoff, right? Because you're going from a moment of like expecting the worst, but getting the best. And I imagine that's probably how Rams fans felt there. So I'm going to go with that one. I'm going to go with the stop. I love the aversion of disaster. I love the thinking it's going to go one way and then the rug's pulled out from under you and their success where failure looked like it was imminent. So the longest yard is going to be the winner for me. But shout out Santonio Holmes and that catch.
That catch is so good. And the crazy thing is, again, we could have also picked the James Harrison 103-yard interception return for a touchdown from that same game. Like that game was awesome.
Yeah, it was. In the chat, they agreed with you guys here. 75% chose the longest yard on the side in the poll.
There we go. I'm a little bit surprised by that. I thought the chat would be a little bit more on the other side there, but we got our second round here. John Luke, you got the first vote in this one. The Philly special versus Malcolm Butler's interception.
Chat's got Auntie Coop's back. That's what's up.
Auntie Coop. We got Auntie Coop's back too. Not just the chat, Coop. Or are we not? Are we anti Auntie Coop now?
You picked the other play. I'm just saying. Dang. Hey, JL, you're still Team Auntie Coop. You're still with us.
Team Auntie Coop, let's go.
Let's go, dude.
Never left. Was here the whole time.
Never lost.
Philly special or Malcolm Butler's interception in Super Bowl. Licks.
Yeah, Super Bowl clicks.
X-Licks. I'm going to go with, I already mentioned how mad I get about the Malcolm Butler play, that moment. So I'm going to go Philly special.
Philly special for
Philly
JL.
special. That was probably the most boring Super Bowl memory I have in recent memory. Like in terms of my plans, like what I was doing during the Super Bowl, I was sitting there working on homework. I had like a midterm the next day or something.
Feel like you're kind of taking this out on.
No, Philly special is what I'm talking about.
Oh,
JL, I missed the entire fun part of the Falcons Patriots Super Bowl. I missed the part where the Falcons were up 28-3. I missed most of the comeback. I just got to watch the Falcons lose in overtime because I finished studying and then I turned on the TV. I was like, oh, going to overtime. Cool. I wonder how that went. And then like pulled up the box and was like, oh my God, I missed one of the craziest Super Bowls of all time.
That happened to me too, Simon.
But I had to study. I had to pass.
Slightly different way.
Had to pass that class. Okay, well, my vote here, this one's tough, but I think I'm going to go with the Philly special. I mentioned I love planned absurdity, and that's where I'm going to roll with here. So Philly special's moving on to the finals, but Coop, you got to vote here. Are you voting for the Malcolm Butler interception or for the Philly special?
I got to vote for as a Patriots fan, I got to vote for my boy Malcolm Butler. I mean, it was just a complete game changer in terms of, like the thing is the Philly special, they didn't have to do the old razzle dazzle there. They could have, it was a 1 yard play. They could have done any number of plays and got that. Like the probabilities were in their favor on that play. Like that's a play where they could have just run it up the middle. They could have done a QB sneak if they really felt like it. You know what I mean? So cool. You called the cool play, but I mean, like the odds were in your favor. With the Malcolm Butler play, the odds were completely against them, and the play happened to win the game. That's what makes that a more special play. Is that like, it's not like hey, run up the middle would have done it, or I guess it would have done it for the other team. So in that instance, I got to go with the more spectacular and one that has a better narrative, even though you guys picked the little show off play.
Well, you know what, Coop? You convinced me. I talked about the emotion that Malcolm Butler play made me feel earlier, and you're right. Like that feeling, the impact that it had on that game. We knew the Seahawks were going to win. I'm with you, Coop. The impact of that one, it's got to be the Malcolm Butler interception.
All right.
Sorry, Philly special, leaving you behind. Coop sold me at the last second.
Philly, their Eagles are in the Super Bowl this year. They're going to be fine. They're playing in the Super Bowl in like 2 days. Come on.
Coop said, Philly! Philly!
You always know when a Patriots fan has to say Philly. It sounds just like that.
They grease the damn poles. There's something
vote.
Something about Philly fans, I just gotta say, there's something about Philly fans I do respect because they're assholes, and I respect the hell out of that because we're also assholes. So like, there's some camaraderie there where it's like people are like, those guys are jerks. I'm like, yeah, they are.
It's the asshole code.
It's awesome. Yeah, they are, and it's awesome. Shut up,
it's brotherhood.
You jabronis.
Have you guys seen the video going around where like they're clearly staged interviews, but they go up to like Chiefs fans, like, oh, what are you gonna do if you guys win the game? And they're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna have some barbecue. Like, oh, I'm gonna have barbecue. Yeah, we're gonna have some barbecue. And they go to a Philly fan and they're like, yeah, well, I was thinking about burning down the local Macy's if we won, but I'm not quite decided yet. And then they go back to the Chiefs fans, like, yeah, just having some friends over, and go to another guy. I didn't really have big plans, but if we win, I'll probably, I don't know, light my neighbor's car on fire. And if we lose, I got same thing, light my neighbor's car on fire. And then
come back to the Chiefs and they're like, barbecue.
Exactly.
Both of them are doing the same thing either way. Barbecue or having a literal riot.
Every time. Because here's our next matchup. I got the first vote. Janet Jackson's nip slip during the 2004 Super Bowl, or the longest yard, Rams stopping Kevin Dyson at the 1 yard line in the 2000 Rams-Titans Super Bowl. I'm going to have to go with the longest yard. We're going with the stop again for me here. Coop, it's coming back to you here. You voted for both of these, though. Both of these were your pick coming through. I only voted for one of them. Which one's going to move on to the championship?
Yeah, I mean, like sometimes you have this like internal debate where it's like your heart says one thing, your brain says the other, or like, your entire being is wanting to say boobs, you know what I mean? And that's kind of the struggle that you have whenever, the nip slip is on the table here. But I got to go with the Rams play here, and not just for my auntie Coop, but when I look over this bracket, when we think about football and we especially with fantasy football, it skews so heavily towards offense that like it's always about offense. Your first thoughts when someone says, what was the best play? You immediately it goes towards offense. So I like the idea that we're going to get a matchup here in the finals that's 2 defensive plays. Shout out to the other side of the ball, 2 big plays that won the game. So I like the idea of the Malcolm Butler play going up against the big stop of Kevin Dyson.
It is kind of fun that we're going to end up with 2 defensive plays in the finals.
It is pretty fun. Why does it feel like the defense is basically like Kevin in The Office? Whenever Angela has a baby, they're just like, Philip, Philip, Philip. I hate Philip. Offense, offense, offense. I hate offense.
We get it. Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts.
Score a lot of points.
What about us? We make stops. Jay, where's your vote going? I'm going to be honest. Doesn't change the outcome, but you do have a vote here. Is it going to be Janet Jackson's nip slip, or is it going to be the stop, the longest yard?
It's going to be the nip slip. It's going to be the nip slip.
Thank you. Hey, thank you. We needed representation on that play.
And you know what?
Tommy in the chat calling me a homer. Are you kidding?
We are the demographic that should be discussing that event because, like, I was 10. That was like a major, like that was right around when I was discovering nipples. Know what I mean? Like I was 10 years old. I was figuring that out. That was like a major point of my like growing up was that night. Like I remember it clearly and all the discussion around it.
Probably one of the most
10-year-old boys.
I love that.
One of the most important nipples of your life, dude.
We found like 15 different ways to describe just normal teenage boyhood.
Being 10, being 12, being 14.
Honestly, like that, honestly, easily one of the top 3 most important nipples of my childhood. Up there with obviously Titanic, and I don't know who else would fit out the top 3. I got to do a lot of thinking about that.
Well, that's 3 right there.
That's 3. Yeah, actually. So those are the 3.
Well, guys, we're gonna.
But Janet Jackson is actually second on the list. I'll let you decide. Who's 1 and who's 3?
Well, guys, our championship matchup has been decided. Malcolm Butler's interception in Super Bowl LVII in 2015, or the longest yard Rams stopping Kevin Dyson at the 1-yard line in the 2000 Rams Titans Super Bowl. Dale had the last vote on the first one, which means I had the first vote, which means this is back to Coop for the first vote on this one.
This is interesting. And now I got to ask you guys, do you happen to know who made the tackle of Kevin Dyson on that play?
Yeah, I think it was Taysom Hill.
It was Taysom Hill. Yeah, you got it, dude. I'll give you guys a hint. There's a rapper. It's a rapper name that's very fun to say because he shouts it.
Lil Jon?
No,
Mike Jones.
It's Mike Jones. Mike Jones on the low. Stop you one lad, show it for show.
That was the only rapper name that I could think of that was also a football player name. So I'm glad it was that one. Jay said Macklemore. Yeah, it was Macklemore who made that tackle, Jay. Coop, where's your vote going?
I'm actually going to shock everyone here as a Patriots fan. And the thing with the Malcolm Butler one that JL, I'm kind of on board with JL, is that it was a great play by Malcolm Butler, and they kind of talked up the idea of like how Malcolm Butler was coached to potentially jump in front of a play like that and how they saw it on film and everything. But the reality is that they probably shouldn't have run that. And I know like people will also argue that the metrics of like, take a shot on a slant, and if it's incomplete, you have another play, and you don't have to run the line of scrimmage. Kind of throw that all out the window. They probably should have just given it to Marshawn Lynch, man. Nobody would have, if they gave it to Marshawn Lynch and Marshawn Lynch got stuffed, nobody would have gone back in time and said they should have thrown it. You know what I mean? Like it was the right decision to give it to Marshawn Lynch. And the play only happened because I think they made the wrong decision. Whereas in the Rams Titans one, that was just a pure football play. You cannot blame the Titans at all for running the play they ran. They gave themselves as good a chance at scoring without scoring as you're going to get, right? Because the guy came up just shy. He had the open space, and it was just a guy flat out making the play. 2 guys had to try and make the play. The Rams guy made the play. I just think that is such a pure football play. Nobody goes back and says, oh, one team should have done this, or one team should have done that, or the refs should have called this, or blah, blah, blah. Like that to me is just a pure football play. And I got to pick the Rams play. You know? So I think that's the one.
Coop, you're falling into a classic trap, and you're making me mad.
What you got?
I told you this is my trigger. And this is the problem. People will look at the outcomes, and they try and get some insight from something that happened in the past. It's called hindsight bias, and it's brutal. It hurts a lot of people every year. I think the only thing that's really like super special about that longest, you mentioned like, you know, it was a good football play and he stopped at the last minute. I feel like the really special point of that was just where he was at the time, right? Like it's just a normal football play, but where he is on the field is really what's important. It's the proximity to scoring. So is that special?
Well, I guess you're right. If he had stopped him at the 2-yard line, then I guess it probably isn't a special play.
Why am I arguing against the one that or in favor of the one that I've been disparaging this whole time?
If Mike Jones had made a better play, then we wouldn't be talking about it.
Like if they had stopped him at the 9, like if it was only a 1-yard play, like if they would have
it was better coverage, no one would care.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So you make a good point. I don't know. I want
the
to
equivalent of doing your paper the last night before it's due and turn it in, getting a B or an A. Like, yeah.
Where's your vote going, JL?
Oh shoot!
It is your vote. I thought you were making your argument.
Jail doesn't like. We get to the very end of this bracket, and Jail just says, "I don't like either of these plays."
I've been voting against each of these the entire time. You guys have just pushed them forward.
I guess that's true.
I'm gonna go with Malcolm Butler's interception.
Okay.
They should have ran the ball. I've been saying it time after time.
That's the thing for me.
It's just bad decision making.
That's the problem. That's the problem I run into is that, like, I love to give Malcolm Butler credit, but they probably should have run the football. Marshawn Lynch, you kidding?
Yeah.
Joe, you see, you're falling into a common trap, and I've been saying this entire time. This entire time, people just keep falling into it, and I hate it. It makes my blood boil.
It hurts a lot of people.
Jay. Yeah, it hurts a lot of people every year. It's called hindsight.
Yes.
I got one thing to say before I cast my vote here.
Turn that into a clip, a soundbite. Fall into the comment trap.
One final statement. Shout out Ani Coop. The Rams play is going to win this bracket. The longest yard is the champion. I'm with Coop. A good old-fashioned football play to win a Super Bowl on the 1-yard line. I don't care that he should have played better defense. Beautiful.
A football play. I think both sides kind of just accepted the outcome of the play. You know.
Here we are. Game over. Rams win.
Whining.
We have determined the longest yard from the 2000 Rams-Titans Super Bowl is our GOAT Super Bowl play during today's Super Bowl brackets. Guys, coming up, we're going to talk some more Super Bowl. We're going to play some fantasy detectives, and we're going to build out a Super Bowl DFS lineup. Before we do that, though, I want to remind everybody that we are sponsored by Lucra. And as we're going into Super Bowl weekend, we are running a special promotion. If you guys sign up using promo code BSN, or if you already have signed up using promo code BSN, on top of that $10 free you're going to get to play with, anyone who signed up using our promo code who creates a contest is going to be automatically eligible to win a $250 gift certificate to the Better Sports Shop to purchase autographed memorabilia, including full-size NFL helmets. $250. You get the full $250. It's easy. There's 3 different ways you can get those entries. Every contest you create is going to earn you 1 entry. If it is against one of the hosts here on BSN, it's going to earn you an additional entry. Or if you accept one of our host challenges, you are going to earn an entry. So for every contest you create or accept, you get 1. If it's a BSN host, you're going to get an additional entry into that drawing as well. Like I said, coming up, we're going to build out that Super Bowl DFS lineup, talk some more Super Bowl, and play some fantasy detectives. Right now, you're watching the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
Better Sports Network is sponsored by Lucra.
Now being joined by Dylan Robbins, the CEO of Lucra.
Lucra is a unique new platform, but it really has a basis and a very simple idea is that we think that people want to bet with their friends, right? Our product is built off the fact that the casual fan is at the bar or at their buddy's house and they're putting $5 on the game and they're doing it on Venmo. And I think that there's a huge opportunity to open the market up to all these casual fans A lot of people who feel boxed out by the traditional sports books because they're too complicated or there's complex jargon. They don't understand the lines or the spreads. And so Lucra's goal is to just make it simple. And our favorite way of doing that is we just connect you directly with your friends. So it's a social platform. It's peer-to-peer. We're not the house. We don't take any risk on these wagers. We just are a marketplace to kind of connect you with your friends directly to engage. So it started as just a business for sports. We've expanded outside of sports now. We offer 150 recreational games, from cornhole to beer pong to darts to Wordle to Peloton, you name it. You can challenge your friends now on Lucra. And you've got all the gaming and tracking and stats and leaderboards to go with it to make it fun. So it's a bit about what we do, and excited to chat with you guys about it today.
What's the future growth of Lucra?
Good question. I think for us, it's really the expansion outside of sports. I think that we've proven that sports is a great model. We've got a ton of great customers who love our sports product, but we're really paving the way or really innovating on this recreational game side of our business as we think about all these unique categories and areas where people are competing. Spike ball, pickleball, all these things that are blowing up across the globe right now. Lucra is the first real way where people can bet with their friends on these games. And so we're getting a lot of new customers from that, a lot of brand awareness from that. And I think we're just trying to iterate that product, make it more fun, make it easier. But we're going to keep our ethos the same, casual, social, and fun. That's what Lucra's about. Our average contest is $10. This is not about bankrupting your friends. It's not about winning big and paying your rent. It's about the magic of the moment and making that moment better by having $5 on the line. If you ever played a round of golf on Sunday or watched a football game, you guys get it. You put a few bucks on it. It just changes the way you interact with that game. You watch it longer. You spend more money there. And it gives us a lot of time for us to, a lot of opportunity for us to partner with other brands because of that.
Better Sports Network is sponsored by Lucra. Winning is fun, and beating your friends is even better. Download the Lucra app today to challenge your friends and win money.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. We are about to get into a game of fantasy detectives. Before we do that, though, I see Jay came in. Our friend G-Man Jay, Giants fan, came in about halfway through that bracket and asked, where the hell is the helmet catch? Didn't see that it lost in the first round. And Jay, just in case, I wanted to make sure you knew fully, not only did it lose in the first round, but it lost to an Eagles play in the first round. It lost to the Philly special. So your Giants helmet catch lost to a division rival's Super Bowl moment in the first round.
Yeah, Jay, they put me in a really tough spot, dude. But at least it wasn't me just rallying against a play against the Patriots, because the other play was also against the Patriots. Simon set it up so that I had to look at both plays in an unbiased fashion to a certain degree.
Honestly, I think our reasoning was probably the most sound on that one.
Yeah.
Out of all the matchups.
Not on Janet Jackson over an actual.
You're right.
Not on Janet Jackson over an actual play.
Second most solid argument.
It was a tough matchup, Jay. You got a real tough matchup on that.
Because we're about to get into some fantasy detectives. If you guys have not played this game with us before, here's how it works. I've got a series of clues that are going to guide our contestants towards an NFL player. They will take turns guessing who that player is after each individual clue is revealed. Every clue is going to reveal a little bit more, so it should get easier as more and more is revealed. But you guys will score more points the earlier on you guess it. You'll get the same number of points as clues there are left, including the one I just read. We'll go through 3 rounds of this, and whoever has more points at the end of that is our champion today. Are you guys ready?
Am I hosting or are you hosting?
Either way. I haven't looked at any of them yet.
Me hosting.
I'll host this time.
Okay. Me versus Coop.
I feel like it's usually Coop and I playing this game.
I will play again. I always like to play.
I always like to play. All right.
It's a me.
It's a me. Who's going first on this one?
You decide.
I decide. I go because I'm running it. That's right. All right. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Coop, you're going first on this one. Through the power.
Just make sure
of
to
science.
return that. Make sure to return that random number generator when you're done with it, Jay.
Okay. Where do I return to?
To me, that's my random number generator you borrowed, obviously. Just make sure you send it back.
Make sure you rewind it too, because if you don't, I didn't wind it last time, and Simon got kind of mad.
Oh, did he charge you?
He charged me extra. Yeah.
Charged, just so everyone's clear, charged physically, not with money. Like I charged at him.
He lowered his shoulder. I actually have, I have a torn cartilage in my ribs. He actually packs a pretty good punch. Yeah, when he lowers the shoulder. Yeah, but I deserved it.
It was Simon's torn cartilage because he tripped.
I deserved it, and it was, it was fully in writing that he would charge me for it. So I apologize. So I just warn you, make sure you rewind it.
All right, I will make sure I rewind it like Jack Black taught me. All right, guys, here's your first clue, Coop. You have the first guess on this one. Your first detective clue is this player threw for 232 touchdowns throughout his career.
So a reminder to everybody, play along in the chat. I got those chat windows closed, so throw your guesses in there. And if you get it right, we'll shout you out.
232 touchdowns. That means he played for at least 8, 9, 10 years. Is this Phillip Rivers?
This is not Phillip Rivers.
I'm going to be honest. I'm really bad at NFL history. That's not my strong suit. And I'm not sure how long some of these like quarterbacks' careers were. So I'm just going to guess a quarterback that I know won a Super Bowl that I don't think played a super long time because I don't see him near the top of the lists in Terry Bradshaw.
This is not Terry Bradshaw. Your next clue. This player was originally offered a part in the 1998 movie There's Something About Mary, but he turned down the role. Brett Favre took the role instead.
There's Something About Mary. What year? 1998?
1998. Yep, There's Something About Mary.
And Brett Favre took the role instead. Is this Dan Fouts?
This is not Dan Fouts. Simon.
Is this Kurt Warner?
This is not Kurt Warner.
Okay.
And friendly reminder, play along in the chat. Throw your guesses in there. If you get it before these guys, we are going to make fun of them so hard.
I got to minimize the chat.
For you, we're going to make fun of you so hard. So risk reward there. And Jay asking, what was the first clue? First two clues. First one was this player threw for 232 touchdowns throughout his career.
It's not a lot.
Clue is this player was originally offered a part in the 1998 movie There's Something About Mary, but turned down the role. Instead, it was taken by Brett Favre.
Turned down. What a loser.
And Simon, did you guess the second time?
Yeah, I guessed Kurt Warner.
All right, so we're on to our third clue. Your third clue here. This player was a backup QB to a Super Bowl MVP.
No.
Backup QB to a Super Bowl MVP. Is it Steve Young?
This is Steve Young.
Yeah. Cha.
I had to do a little bit of detective work on my own because whoever created this prompt just put Steve Yo as the answer.
Yo.
So I had to reverse engineer that one.
That's better than the time.
Sometimes people leave you little hints. Sometimes somebody puts a vague description in there and then leaves the show and you're running it and you try to ask that vague description and then you text the person who wrote it, hey, what was the answer to that vague description? And they go, oh, sorry, I never put it in there. And then they ask you the same vague description the following week after never giving you the answer. Like little mistakes like that. I hate navigating those.
All right, first, allow me to clarify because this is clearly about Coop. Coop did not mean any of those mistakes. It was a total accident. Don't be mad at him, Simon.
It's okay.
What?
It was just the Sisyphusian struggle of trying to figure out what the answer to that prompt was.
I was so mad because you were saying that on stream and I was typing in the chat, but it was like too late because of the delay. Because I didn't come up with that one, Simon.
What?
So
it said
actually,
JL next to it.
Yeah, you know why? Because Keith has this really bad habit of every time I try and create a prompt, he goes into that and starts writing his own in the one that I created. And so they say created by JL, but really it was just Keith who took the one I was writing.
And that's how we get answers like John Burrow in there.
Or Steve Yo.
John Burrow. And
John Burrow.
And the best part is that it was like the question would like also had like a part about Joe Burrow's dad. So I was like, oh, maybe I accidentally typed his dad's name. No, his dad's name is Jim Burrow.
Jim Burrow.
There is no
totally
John
different
Burrow.
than John.
Yeah.
Keep in the chat says take the lost J out in parentheses, please. Well done. All right, so there were 5 total clues in that one. Simon, you guessed it. No, sorry, Coop, you guessed it correctly after the 3rd clue, which is going to give you 2 points or 3 points?
3 points, including that one, because otherwise getting on the last clue would be worth 0 points. Know what I mean?
That makes sense.
You
yeah,
include
that does
the
make sense. The next 2 clues were this player won 3 Super Bowls, but only actually played in 1. And this player is a great-great-grandson of a Mormon leader, Brigham Young.
I knew that.
So are a lot of people. So are a lot of people.
Literally, yeah.
That's not a
Brigham Young had like 50 kids, right?
something ridiculous like that. And the great-great-grandson. So you're talking,
One
removed.
One of many.
One of many. All right, Coop, that's going to give you 3 points to start off. We're going to get into our next round, Fantasy Detective here. Simon, you're going first on this one. Your clue is this player won the Super Bowl MVP after throwing for 414 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Okay, so just a quarterback that won Super Bowl MVP. Let's go with Russell Wilson.
This is not Russell Wilson.
I don't even know if he won Super Bowl MVP that year.
414 yards and 2 touchdowns. Is this Nick Foles?
This is not Nick Foles. Your second clue. This player threw 3 touchdown passes in each of his first 3 NFL starts, an NFL record until it was surpassed by Patrick Mahomes in 2018.
This player threw 3 touchdowns in 3 of his first NFL starts. And then he also won a Super Bowl. So he got off
MVP.
Was MVP, got out to a hot start as a rookie, was MVP. Patrick Mahomes surpassed him. So younger than Patrick Mahomes, which checks out. Not too many quarterbacks younger than him that have won a Super Bowl since. That's tricky. I'm having trouble thinking of who it could be. I'll go with, I don't know, Joe Flacco.
This is not Joe Flacco.
Good guess. Is this Big Ben Roethlisberger?
Is what I was thinking.
This is not Big Ben. Big Ben.
He had a good rookie year. That was a good guess.
Yeah, and he was on the list of the young guys that we did. I don't know, the other day somewhere.
Yeah. So let's see. That was Coop who just guessed.
Yes.
Simon's going first.
Oh, Simon goes first every
this
time.
entire time.
Right. Oh, you're right. So your next clue is this player was cut by the Green Bay Packers in 94. Good year.
Is this
Simon, you're guessing.
Is this Brett Favre?
This is not Brett Favre.
Cut by the Green Bay
Who?
Packers in
Oh, the
94?
time years are wrong.
Yeah, that does not.
Years
that
are
doesn't make
wrong.
sense.
I'm a dingleberry.
Aaron Rodgers is so old.
I know.
He's like
As soon as I thought about it for 1 second and was like, yeah, that didn't work out.
Aaron Rodgers took over a starting job when we were born.
he's now 67. Actually.
He's been playing for 28 years.
Wait, his first 3 games as a rookie, but this guy was a quarterback. So his first 3 games as a rookie, he threw 3 touchdowns in each of 3
So I
games.
guess I'm not sure JL said rookie. Is part of one thing there. His first 3 NFL starts is what JL said, which could be a rookie, but doesn't have to be a rookie. Unless you said rookie.
The clues up till now, this player's won Super Bowl MVP after throwing for 414 yards and 2 touchdowns. This player threw 3 touchdown passes in each of his first 3 NFL starts, an NFL record until it was surpassed by Patrick Mahomes in 2018. And this player was cut by the Packers in 94.
Cut by the Packers in 94. I mean, Favre was already established as the quarterback then, I feel like.
So it must have been like a veteran they brought in as a backup and then cut or something.
I don't know. Maybe my timeline's messed up. But Favre won the Super Bowl in 97, and He wasn't young then. I don't think.
It's at least 11 or 13.
Yeah. Is this?
I'm so lost on this one.
Yeah, I'm having a hard time with this one. What's it gonna be? It's right.
I guess
Oh,
some guesses in the chat.
the chat
May not be right.
is the chat getting this right? I don't know. Is this Jim McMahon?
This is not Jim McMahon. Your next clue is, and by the way, there are 5 total clues in this one.
This is clue
So
4.
this is clue 4.
I don't know if
This player was benched for Mark Bulger.
Oh,
Well, I'm screwed. I don't know who Mark Bulger is. So I do not know who this is going to be. So
I
Get his
think
bowls from HelloFresh every month.
I think I know. I want to say I do know.
is this the quarterback formerly known as Prince?
This is not the quarterback formerly known as Prince. No, kind of shocking.
So bench for Mark Bulger. So I know that Mark Bulger played for the Los Angeles, at the time, St. Louis Rams. He was pretty good, honestly. He was a fantasy relevant guy. Is this Kurt Warner?
This is Kurt Warner. Coop, well done. It's going to give you 2 additional points here.
I'm an
The last
idiot.
clue. Yeah, the chat got this. Dustin got this a little while ago.
Now that I've said it, Simon, you know exactly who Mark Bulger is.
Now that you said it, I know exactly who you're talking about.
Yeah, you know exactly who that is.
I was thinking Packers. I was stuck on Packers, and I was just trying to think Packers. Sorry, go ahead, Joe.
This is the last clue. Is this player is a 4-time Pro Bowl player? So 1999 to 2001 and 2008.
That's what throws us off is that like we forget that he had the initial stint, got cut, went to the CFL grocery bagging stuff, and then he came back way later and everything happened. So it's like that thing that threw us for a complete loop because people forget the very beginning of the story.
Yeah. All right, well done, Coop. That's going to give you 2 more points here, bringing it to 5-0. Dustin got this in the chat a while ago, and Tommy in the BSN chat also got this
Nice job,
correct.
Tommy and Dustin. And I got it right before you even gave a single clue for it, really, since I guess Kurt Warner on the last one.
You did.
You said nice job. My response was,
Was that directed to Tommy, Dustin, or both?
That's why I moved my head back and forth because I was
gotcha.
Each of them.
Well done. Coop, you're going to win this game of Fantasy Detectives. Quick one today.
Oh, a little quickie. I like that.
Nice little quickie.
5-0. Well, guys, coming up, we're going to talk some Super Bowl from a fantasy perspective, and then we're going to build out a DFS lineup for this upcoming game. A reminder, if you're enjoying what we're doing over here, you should head on over to our YouTube channel, Front Yard Fantasy, and hit that subscribe button. Check out all the stuff we're putting out over there. We got game shows. We got this show. We got shorts and clips keeping you up to date on what's going down in the NFL and around the world. But right now, you're watching the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
Moose and Keith, weekdays at 10 a.m. Eastern on Better Sports Network.
Baby J just wrote in the chat as we went to break that Nick Sirianni is the most punchable face in the NFL.
I think
I don't see it.
Well, yeah, I think people are bothered, and you saw the Giants bothered by the fact of how he was acting and his antics. And I'm growing a little tired of Kayvon Thibodeau on social media. Everybody
he's bothering me a little bit.
Well, everybody that criticizes Kayvon Thibodeau, he's basically he basically tells you, I don't know who you are, whether it be Jeff Saturday or whether it be Joe Staley.
Yeah.
Julian Love last week going on Good Morning Football on the NFL Network and saying Sirianni's in for a free ride. Just look how talented that team is. Well, I mean, I think it's a little unfair if you're a Giant or you're a member or you are a fan of the Giants. You went in there on that Saturday night and you got embarrassed.
Doesn't it feel like sour grapes, right? Like it just feels like you guys beat me up, so now I'm just going to try to find a way to beat you down.
And if you're Kayvon Thibodeau, enough, shut up. I mean, you're on social media enough with the fact that anybody that rips you or criticizes you or going out there and saying, or ripping the 49ers who didn't have a quarterback in the NFC Championship game and saying, well, we could have done a better job than what San Francisco is doing. Well, they didn't have a quarterback. And then Joe Staley calls them out. And then I got to have Michael Strahan tag teaming and jumping in and, and ripping Joe Staley. The fact that Michael Strahan got 2.5 sacks on him during his rookie year, where Joe Staley was critical of what Kayvon Thibodeau did this year. I mean, are we serious here?
Yeah, that's what we're doing here.
I mean, this is really what it's coming down to. I mean, why not hold the young man accountable and say, no, listen, zip it. Enough. Like, you don't need to comment on everything, nor do I care. Yeah. You're not Micah Parsons. You're not Lawrence Taylor. You're none of those
But
things.
he thinks he is.
Well, but that's the problem. He's not.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not. And I would say he has a long way to go.
And maybe he becomes one of the best. He could.
I mean, it's possible. Do I think he's ever going to be Micah Parsons? I don't.
He's talented.
He's talented. I'm not telling you he's not going to have a successful NFL career. But everybody that criticizes him, he says, I don't know who you are. Well, why don't you look up and have for the men that played in this league before you and what they accomplished in this league? That the league didn't start the day that you stepped foot in the National Football League. And sometimes there's reasons why people are going to go out there. And if you're going to make comments as stupid as he did in the NFC Championship game, you understand that you're going to get called out for it. And if you get called out for being dopey, don't all of a sudden respond with, I don't know who you are.
Moose and Keith. Weekdays at 10 a.m. Eastern on Better Sports Network.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. It is the Thursday before the Super Bowl, Super Bowl Eve right now. And we're going to talk a little bit about this game we got coming up between the Chiefs and the Eagles. I see Tommy in the chat getting excited about us putting together a DFS lineup. We'll get to that after we talk a little bit about this game. Said, yep, skiddly do. Let's make us a DFS team or two.
Now we have to.
Maybe two. Probably one. Probably just one now.
Just one.
Honestly, guys, I can't focus on anything other than what they were saying in that commercial. Keith and Moose up there. It's driving me nuts.
Yeah. I mean,
you don't like fun? You don't like let Thibodeau do his thing. Let him talk on Twitter. What does it matter?
The thing is, though, when you see the clips of Thibodeau, like, he's not having fun, dude. There's a difference between these guys, like, smiling and talking trash, being like, oh, yeah, the guy that got over there,
Alexander.
T. Higgins. When you watch
it's kind of what the comp you're making, where it's like he's laughing, but it's like the meme.
Exactly. He's like doing it
behind it.
He's doing it as like a joke. But like when you watch Thibodeau, like with that quote they're talking about with the Jeff Saturday, the first thing he said was he basically told all the reporters, like, well, you guys don't play the game. So like, why would I listen to anything you have to say? And then they were like, well, basically it was, this is how it went down. Because I watched the whole thing. I wanted to see what was going on. And the reporters came in and said, hey, by the way, like Jeff Saturday didn't like how you were celebrating on the field when their quarterback was hurt. And he goes, well, you guys always try to create a narrative, but you guys aren't playing the game. Like you never played the game. So like, why would I listen to what you're saying? And then the reporter was like, actually, I didn't. Well, the reporter goes, I didn't say that. Jeff Saturday said that. He did play the game. And that's when Kayvon Thibodeau was like, I don't know who that is. So I don't care what he says. Like none of it was fun. I'll tell you that. So if you're talking about like him joking around, he was joking around with Joe Thomas, but in that situation, no part of it was fun. He was just like, don't talk to me. Like I'm the man and you guys, you're just some reporter and I don't care. And I don't know who Jeff Saturday is, even though he's a 10-year vet that was all pro multiple times and he's the coach of the Colts. So I'm actually kind of put me with the Moose and Keith on this one.
I love that description of Jeff Saturday versus when he first was the coach, and we were like, who is this guy? Never even coached in high school.
Right. Well, that's the thing is that people are saying that, but like the guy played with Peyton Manning for a decade, right? He was the anchor of the Colts Lions Super Bowl winner. Like Jeff Saturday, like he put it this way. he should know who Jeff Saturday. If Jeff Saturday was never a coach, he should know who Jeff Saturday is, and he should definitely know who the coach of the team that he's playing against that weekend. So, Kayvon Thibodeau, you know, if he wants to be the villain, let him be the villain. He's pretty good at it, but I don't know. I no part of that was like him being fun. That was kind of him.
No, but when I see that, I think about it like in his situation. The play that was in question was him celebrating after the quarterback got injured, right? He's out there on the field. He's making a display out of it. There's a very real chance, like, he didn't know the extent of the injury. He was celebrating a good football play, and he's sick and tired of hearing all these people make judgments on a play that was in the moment an emotional reaction to doing something positive on the field, right? Like that reaction to that reporter could have been less about like, F Jeff Saturday, F you, I'm the man, and more about like, I've seen this 1,000 times and it's not what I did. And it was just that frustration coming out. Know what I mean? Like, these are people too. I try to give the benefit of the doubt in situations like that, unless it's over and over and over again.
He also came on Thibodeau. So he was celebrating while the quarterback was hurt. He comes off the field and there's on the sideline. He's going like this, right? That he put the guy to sleep. It's like, to me, and how easy would it have been for him to say, him just go, oh, sorry, I didn't realize he was hurt. Instead, he goes, you guys don't know ball, and I don't know who that is. It's just like, I don't know. I don't like that attitude. But at the same time, it's good to have people that are villains in this league because it is more fun to, like, I'll say that I don't like it, but I quietly love it. So, you know what I mean?
Did you guys see, speaking of trash talk, Eli Apple talking about backing up his trash talk, what he had to say about that? I loved it. I saw the quote and it was exactly what I wanted him to say. He said, I'll talk my biggest trash, whether I back it up or don't. It doesn't matter. It's a game to me. It's something I love to do, no matter what anybody on the outside has to say. They said, what if you don't back it up? He said, I don't care. Because it doesn't matter if I back it up or not. I'm just talking trash.
And is that not our job description here? Is that not what we do professionally?
Well, that's
every
why,
single day.
That's why I say that, like, I don't like it, but I love when he does it because it gives us something to talk about, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm in the same camp as Eli Apple. Like, if you ever play against me in beer pong, every shot, I'm like, game, cup, winner. You know, if it doesn't go in, I'm just like, oops. But if it does go in, I'm like, oh, in your face.
Called it,
dude. What's up? What's up now? What's up now? So why not call your shot? Nobody cares when you don't. People are just like, and then you're just like, well, you know, so call your shot every time. Who cares? Eat it.
Yeah, everybody wants you to be one way, you know, be your own way. I respect that. Even if it comes off as an asshole, I respect that he doesn't just conform to, oh, this is what they want me to say.
There you go. JL's just Fleetwood Mac in it, dude.
I'm Team Thibodeau. Oh God, that's such a good team name.
And apparently Thibodeau did come out and say, Jay coming in here, a quote with him saying, when I did realize that he was hurt, that's when we started getting up. When you're doing a celebration, you're not looking to see who's doing what, but I hope he gets well and I hope he's all right.
Yeah.
So he did come out and say that outside of that moment in the interview.
The last thing I'll say on it is that Moose and Keith, it is funny that when he got in the argument with Joe Thomas, his response was once again, I don't know who you are. Like that's his go-to response, and that's actually kind of funny. It is kind of funny. Like if he keeps doing that, the more he does
keeps
it,
going, yeah.
The more he does it, the funnier.
It'll not be funny for a while, and then it will be funny again.
Exactly. Yeah. Like what is it? Once he gets to 4 times, it's not funny, but once he gets up to 7, it will be.
It's going to be so funny. Well, guys, we got a game this weekend. Dale, you said you can't focus on anything else. I think that's a common sentiment amongst most fantasy football players. After this hiatus we've been forced to have from football for the past couple of weeks. But the Chiefs are facing the Eagles, and they are 1.5-point underdogs in this game with an expected 50.5-point over-under. A lot of talk about whether or not this Kansas City Chiefs offense is going to be able to expose this Eagles secondary, like Brandon Ayuk was saying. Coop, how do you think this game's going to play out?
It's an interesting one, man. It's an interesting one. I think that it's going to be a high-scoring game. I like the idea. What's the over-under set at again? Did you say 57?
50.5.
50.5. Yeah. I mean, that's 50 is about, that's where they set these games. I like betting the over. I think it's going to be, that's the most fun way to approach this game. And I think it's going to be a high-flying affair. The Chiefs end up being a good matchup for the Eagles because the Eagles have 2 outside corners, right? That's how they've been beating everybody. Just take their 2 awesome corners and take away your wide receivers. Well, guess what? The Chiefs are rolling in and saying, we don't got none of those. So we don't care, right? Like you have 2 guys, right? You have two guys to cover like four dudes that are all kind of just like whatever. And also those two guys, Darius Slay and James Bradbury, I looked it up. They don't go into the slot. Like I'm pretty sure Darius Slay has like 0 slot snaps this season. So Juju Smith-Schuster hanging out in the slot, Travis Kelce hanging in the slot. Who knows? I wonder if they're gonna mix it up and send those guys in there. But it's an interesting matchup from that point. I think the Chiefs win, but I think it's a close game. I don't know, JL. What kind of narrative have you been painting in your head?
Yeah, I think we might make some predictions tomorrow. And in preparation of that, I've been trying to think through it. This feels like a more difficult Super Bowl to predict than past few years because it feels like very evenly matched. Each team is pretty overwhelmingly strong they have some shortcomings, but it's pretty balanced. I feel like I'm going to take I just want the Chiefs to win. I'm like on the Chiefs side of this. And so it's so even though I think it could go either way.
I'm excited to see this Philly offense against this Chiefs. Like that's the question mark for me, right? Is are they going to stick with that's going to determine the script of this game. Does this stay a run heavy offense in this game like they found dominance with all season? But we've also seen Jalen Hurts open it up a little bit. We know that dude can chuck it. I think the Eagles pull this one out, and I think they end up throwing the ball maybe a little bit more than is expected, going down early to this Chiefs offense. But I think the Eagles pull it out. We're talking a second half comeback. We can throw a Lucre bet down on it. I got the Eagles in a second half comeback.
This is money line?
Money line. Just straight.
Whichever one wins.
Whichever one wins. It's a 1.5 point spread. You can have those 1.5 points, Jay. I'll let you have it.
Let's say a cool 5,000.
How about 5?
Okay, that works.
Okay, and then for something like really predictable, like I don't know, the Clemson spring game, we can put $5,000 down on it. Okay. Something that's just like a little bit more predictable in the outcome.
Right.
We'll put $5 down on this Super Bowl. I am excited for this game, though, Dylan. What you mentioned is something that does feel unique to this Super Bowl compared to past years, that it feels a little bit more evenly matched. Like I'm unsure who's going to come out on top. But the other thing that I love about this Super Bowl, and then even going back around in the playoffs, is it really does feel like, especially with the retirement of Tom Brady, that we are like officially the guard has been passed to the next generation of quarterbacks. You know what I mean? I feel like it's been like a passing of the guard thing the past couple of years. But then in the divisional round or the conference championships, the 4 starting quarterbacks were Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, Brock Purdy, and Jalen Hurts. You go back another round, we got Josh Allen in there. And now in the Super Bowl, Patrick Mahomes and Jalen Hurts. Like Tom Brady retired. Russell Wilson didn't make the playoffs. Both the Manning brothers are now commentating on ESPN, right? Drew Brees out of the league. Phillip Rivers out of the league. Aaron Rodgers not in the playoffs. It's the young quarterbacks. They've taken over. This is their time. It's the next generation of QBs.
All we need is to wait for Aaron Rodgers to go do that darkness retreat and then just like throw a padlock on the house. and then we could just move on to the new generation, right? Like that's the last.
Nobody mentions it. We all agree on spoken agreement, and then nobody mentions it ever again.
They're just like, all right, and new generation.
Someone's like, hey, have you guys seen this cabin in the woods over here with the padlock on the door? Nope.
In 90 years, the Japanese Ministry of Health shows up to congratulate him on being the world's oldest man because nobody has seen him since he's been locked in that room.
He comes out and he just looks exactly the same as he has been looking. Just like scraggly.
He comes out and the first thing he says is, I've decided I will be playing for the Raiders next season.
It comes out and just makes that final announcement.
By the way, they're in Mexico City now. Yeah. Aaron.
No, but it does have that feeling that we've seen the guard pass fully. Adam and he had a question for us, and I was gonna talk about some of these running backs. We got one of them playing in this game, but wants to know, who do we think has the brightest future out of Rachaad White on the Buccaneers, James Cook on the Bills, or Isaiah Pacheco on the Kansas City Chiefs going to be playing this weekend? Coop, you got to pick one of those running backs. Let's say you're a dynasty player. Which one of those 3 do you want on your roster?
You know what's crazy is I got this exact question on Reddit. Like, Adam, are you on Reddit? Like, that's a word for word question that I got on Reddit, dude, which is wild. But I guess it is. They are the young hosses right now, right? So if we're talking about this upcoming season, I think the guy I want is James Cook, because we know that passing is we know that receptions are worth, even in standard, over, like 1.4 times what carries are. In PPR, 2.74 times. That math was figured out by Shane Barrett, a great guy in this industry. So we know that receptions are the most valuable piece. Right now, the Buccaneers can't really move on from Leonard Fournette without trading him. And Isaiah Pacheco, besides the one playoff game, has not been featured in the pass game. Like, he is pretty staunchly a run game guy. So for the short term, I'm interested in James Cook to see if he can carve out a role. But if I'm thinking just overall long term, I like Rachaad White best. So if we're talking about long term dyno, I think it's Rachaad White, James Cook, Pacheco. If we're talking about, if you're like competing now and need somebody to go in your lineup, I might move James Cook to the top. But it's close enough. But I don't know. Rachaad White has looked great. Simon, I know you're a big Rachaad White guy. Do you think you still have him at the top of this list, or where you at with him?
I have to respect the timeout that was just called. Then I'll give my answer. John Luke, 30 seconds. The floor is yours.
Yes, I would like a quick ruling. Is it Pacheco or Pacheco?
So
we make a determination here.
I've heard both. Let's find the official.
It's Pacheco?
It's Pacheco.
Pacheco. That's what they're. That's what they're.
It's Pacheco.
Sometimes I do that, dude. I've been doing that for years with Alvin Kamara. I'm like Alvin Kamara. Like, I'm just like Kamara. I'm just like
we need a sound. We need like a sound drop that every time that there's a question, we hit it. We're like, all right, we got to make a deliberation. Dustin, go find out.
Tommy said Pacheco. I don't think so, but maybe.
I don't think so either.
So, dude, do you want to hear some, on a side note, while somebody looks that up? Somebody in the chat look that up and give us the what is it, the pronunciation? Like, give us, like, spell it out for us. Dude.
Dustin said, how are you going to ask when I sent you a whole sheet of pronunciations? Because I have to look through a sheet then, Dustin. It's
just
so much easier if you look through the sheet for me.
Just give us the one. But, dude, so this happened last year and was kind of swept under the rug. Or it might have been the year before. But did you guys see what Travis Kelce came out? And he was like, just so you guys know, our name is pronounced Kels. And Kelsey is a nickname that everyone calls all of us. Like, so I have no problem with it because people call me Kels or Kelsey. But if you were to just like ask my grandfather what our name is, like, my name's Travis Kels.
So I'm sorry. It's so much worse sounding.
It is.
Kelsey sounds so much better.
Kels.
Look it up, dude.
It has way more fervor than Kels. Kels sounds like a fart in the wind.
Kels sounds like an underwater village for angry fish.
The Kelps.
The Kels.
Kels.
They're heading back to Kels.
Kels sounds like a nickname for Kelsey.
Yeah.
Oh, I hate nicknames for Kelsey.
Kelsey.
Everybody on my father's side says Kels, but I go by both. One is the real name, and then one's the nickname. That's what he says.
It's like, my last name is actually pronounced, you got to like Hakalugi at the beginning to say it for real. It's like Groeneveld.
Hakalugi Groeneveld.
Groeneveld. Right. But we just go with Groeneveld because it's a little easier.
So we've been saying Simon Groeneveld, but it's more like Simon Groeneveld.
A little less German. Somewhere between Danish and German lives Dutch. Dutch was once described to me by a German foreign exchange student as a drunk German trying to speak English, is what Dutch sounds like. So that's about the vibe of the accent that I think accurately portrays it.
I like that.
That's
also,
funny.
Dustin said Pacheco. Use the dang sheet.
Tommy said
it's Topo Chico.
Tommy said Pacheco. I don't know who to
Topo
believe.
Chico.
I
believe Victor.
I believe Victor.
I believe Victor too. Victor's never lied to us, except
Not
that one
once.
time.
Dustin
About the noodles.
Yeah, but not twice.
Did Victor lie to us? He did. You little scoundrel.
You little sneaky Victor.
Tommy lies to us every day, but I believe him.
Is there anything in this game that you guys are looking for fantasy for next year? Like unanswered questions or situations that maybe we get one more idea of a little bit of clarity, like the running back situations, any of these receivers?
Yep. Absolutely. I'm going to let JL say his because he said yep slightly before me.
And I am going to accept that because I am very selfish. And I'm going to go with Clyde Edwards-Helaire. he's the one they activated him for this game, and I'm really interested to see what the usage is, what he looks like. He's passed the eye test coming back off this injury, and that is definitely going to help, I think, sway a lot of people's opinions about his value next year.
Can't wait for us to all sit here and say Clyde Edwards-Helaire or Isaiah Pacheco or Jerick McKinnon, and then some like weirdo in the suburbs of Kansas City wins $1 million on DraftKings because he starts Ronald Jones, and somehow Ronald Jones scored. Ronald Jones plays 3 snaps and scores a touchdown this week. Like
he's still
three snaps, 3 touchdowns.
Ronald Jones
Helaire has 270 rushing yards, but with no touchdowns. Ronald Jones has 3 yards, 3 touchdowns.
That's how it works, bro. Ronald Jones played 2 snaps last week, 1 carry.
Got it done. What else do you need from him? 2 snaps.
Did what he had to do. The question that I have is also on the Chiefs. I think Juju Smith-Schuster is probably gone next year. They got him to come for 1 year on a prove-it deal. Potentially Juju trying to win the Super Bowl. So if they win the Super Bowl and Juju gets paid big money, then signing for 1 year, $3 million or whatever he signed for, which is like nothing for wide receivers. DJ Chark got 1 year, $10 million, right? Like, so Juju coming there, clearly doing a prove-it deal, trying to win a Super Bowl. He's probably gone. I want to see who is going to kind of man the slot. Mecole Hardman's hurt, so he's already been put on the IR. He's done. So Sky Moore, Kadarius Toney. I'm interested to see who comes out and makes a name for themselves in the Super Bowl, because that is huge, man. Like, you come out and you play well in the Super Bowl, and they look and say, "Hey, we're going to need you to step up and play slot next year." So that's what's interesting to me. Marcus Valdez-Scantling does something totally different. Like, he's on the outside field stretcher. Like, it's just a different role. But I think it really is kind of Sky Moore versus Kadarius Toney for that slot role.
Yeah. Who do you expect to come out? Do you think it's going to be Sky Moore? Do you think it's going to be Kadarius Toney? Because both have gotten hype at different points this season, I feel like.
And then that's what makes it so crazy, is that, like, I think for this particular game, like, if I was doing a DraftKings lineup, I'd pick Sky Moore because he's been with the team all year. He knows the plays better. He's more equipped to play in many different circumstances. But I mean, it's hard to deny the athleticism of Kadarius Toney, and the targets that he gets per snaps puts him in like the top of the league. Good buddy Dwayne McFarland pointed out that, like, in terms of like yards and targets per route run, when they put Kadarius Toney in there, they're throwing it to Kadarius Toney. So maybe it is a situation where when he gets a bigger playbook, he is the guy. If I had to pick one in Dynasty, I think I'm picking Kadarius Toney.
I think I'm with you. And I was a Sky Moore believer. I like Sky Moore, but I am curious. Coop, I wasn't considering the implications of that in this game, but now that's what I was watching for. When I asked that question, I was thinking like that Kansas City running back situation is the one that's really there to watch. But that Kansas City wide receiver room is one to watch as well. There's going to be fantasy relevant pieces there next year, whether Juju's there or not, in that wide receiver room.
You have 2 full weeks to draw up a game script to beat this specific defense. So it's kind of interesting. This is going to be, both these playbooks that they bring to the table are going to be so specific towards their opponent that they might be able to ramp Kadarius Toney up to a full snap share if they wanted to, because you're basically saying like, hey, we're going to take all these plays off the table. We're not even going to use those this week. This is the playbook right here for beating the Eagles. Maybe Kadarius Toney does play a ton of snaps. Hard to say.
Yeah.
Honestly, the wide receiver situation, I feel like it doesn't feel concrete. Even if we've seen trends in this offense, it feels like they could shift their strategy on a dime, and like it wouldn't really cost them much, which makes me nervous about players like Juju Smith-Schuster, who has clearly been the one on this team this season. Well, apart from taking Travis Kelce out of the mix here. But he didn't really do a crazy amount with that on one of the highest powered offenses in the league. And I think it just gets more uncertain as you go down this depth chart. I do agree with you, Coop, though. The Kadarius Toney is the one that I'm like confident in the others to actually have staying value.
The one complete curveball, man, that I am having a hard time making sense of it, and I want to get your thoughts on is what's the deal with Justin Watson? Like, why is he?
I knew that's what you were gonna say.
Why is he playing?
Is he a player?
He comes out and plays like 70% of the snaps. Like, what's going on, man? Like, what?
Does he have blackmail on someone?
Yeah, I think he was sick last week. I think he was actually like physical, like he was sick and he didn't even play. But in most, he's sick, dude. He was ill. But I mean, like this guy comes out, like look at these, listen to these, some of these game logs for this guy. He comes out, plays. So this is starting week 13. 62% of the snaps, 1 target, 1 catch. 65% of the snaps, 2 targets, doesn't catch either of them. 65% of the snaps, 2 targets, doesn't catch either of them. Comes out next game. So he earned it playing 65. They bumped him up to 74%. That game, he got 4 targets. He didn't catch any of those either. So like then 37, 51, 55, 1 catch in each of those games. This guy must be the best run blocker there's ever been, because like they're throwing him the ball and he's not catching it. So it's got to be run blocking, right? Like why else is this guy playing more than half the game and Kadarius Toney's playing 5 snaps?
Right. I don't know if it's the blocking or they're just worried about the Toney injury and trying to like ease him in, but I don't know. It seems odd.
It makes no sense at all. As Blink-182 once famously said, it makes no sense at all.
Miss you.
And I'm so sorry.
Do not do this to me this early in the morning. When my day starts with pop punk, I just know the mood I'm going to be in when the day ends.
It ends in pop punk.
Like it's going to end. No, it starts with pop punk, a little bit playful, and it ends with like 11-year-old angst bubbling out of me and like emotional outbursts as I watch House Hunters International and they pick the wrong home.
You're listening to Grand Theft Autumn by Fall Out Boy like 32 times by the end of the night.
Like Leanne opens the door and you're mid knee slide through the kitchen. When I was a young boy, my father took me into the city.
It always ends up in My Chemical Romance.
I just call my mom unprompted and I scream, "You don't even get it, Mom!" And then I hang up.
Your mom
just texts you, "Stop listening to pop punk."
And your mom is on the phone and she talks back. She's like, "Will you defeat them, your demons?" And
my dad comes. He's like, "Hey, son. So I heard you've been listening to some Simple Plan recently. I know you like that kind of music, but I got some other recommendations for you. Maybe I don't know, throw some 9 Inch Nails on, like mix it up a little bit." Like he tries to make the transition Edie out of pop punk for me.
He calls you up and he's like, "I had a dream last night. We drove out to see Las Vegas." Like.
But yeah, said Simon gonna throw on some Hoobastank and get a good cry on.
There you go, dude.
Yeah. Gonna get Hoobastanky is what I'm gonna do after this.
Hoobastanky.
So sorry, we put you in the mood to get Hoobastanky. What was the Hoobastank's one big song? They had an awesome song.
Hoobastank.
The Reason.
Wasn't me.
The Reason.
The Reason is their biggest hit single. No way. For being honest, I don't know my Hoobastank.
Hoobastank.
I know. I was think a lot. Kevin in here saying The Reason. We talk some Hoobastank. Kevin Tompkins shows up. He can't help it. You guys want to put together a DFS lineup going into the Super Bowl? We got a little bit of time here, and for single game slates, it's just pick 5 players, put them in your lineup. One of them is your MVP. Highest score wins.
Let's just talk more Hoobastank.
Hoobastank.
Let's make our lineup solely based on who is the biggest Hoobastank fans based on their vibes and our little knowledge of Hoobastank.
Dude, if we made that lineup and won $1 million and somebody had to they interviewed one of you guys doing the interview and explaining that we picked our lineup. DFS experts here to explain their lineup. We kind of picked based on who had the.
We brought on Dr. Jeff Jiman, the 4th.
Tail and I one word the response talking about how we just picked guys who look like they like Hoobastank.
I'm scrolling now to see who looks like a Hoobastank guy.
Who would be putting?
Might be Chad Henne.
Yeah, who's getting Hoobastanky? Oh, Harrison Butker looks like he gets a little Hoobastanky. He tries to hide it. He tries to act like he doesn't.
You almost need a tight end. I mean, you almost need a kicker.
Noah Gray lives with a Hoobastank album on. Look at his eyes. That dude hasn't not listened to Hoobastank in 15 years.
Every like decoration hanging on his wall, every frame picture is somehow related to Hoobastank.
He has a Hoobastank tramp stamp.
The Hoobastank blacklight poster.
Kevin said Kyrie Fairburn is literally the guy from Hoobastank. That they look exactly. They do look a lot alike after I Googled him. They look very similar.
Noah Gray this year, he's played in let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
He's played in 19 games this year, and he has a catch in 18 of them. I keep throwing him into lineups, in DFS lineups every week. I'm like, this is a week he catches a random touchdown. And every week he catches at least one pass. It's usually for more than 10 yards, but he can't get that touchdown. But he's playing at least 60% of the snaps. I kind of want to put Noah Gray in this lineup.
Not in the MVP spot, I'm guessing, right?
No. He's going to catch one pass. He has a couple games with 2. He has a couple games with 2, a couple games with 3, but the only game he didn't catch a pass in all year, including the playoffs, was week 4 against the Bucs. Like, this guy plays more than half the snaps, and they always make an effort to get him the ball at least once. So why can't this guy just score that random shovel pass touchdown? I don't know, right?
I don't know.
Saves up a ton of money.
Noah Gray has a framed signed picture of Hoobastank. It's not actually signed. He just Googled signed picture of Hoobastank, printed it, and framed it. He does have that look in his eye. Who do we want in that MVP spot? Because that's what we get to decide first. This is the player that we think is going to score the most points during this game. Generally, those are the quarterbacks, but that could be chalk. Sometimes this is where we got to make the decision. Do we want to go chalk with our MVP and get queued elsewhere? Or is this where we make our differentiation by not going with one of the 2 quarterbacks?
Chalk.
Yeah,
I feel like chalk is the right way. And then we differentiate elsewhere.
I'm starting Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, I'm thinking I got to go with Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce. I feel like that's the chalk play that I almost have to put in there. But if we're putting Noah Gray, maybe that's where we make up that difference.
Here's where I'm differentiating. Let me know if you guys want to get wild with me, go to the Luna bin. But how many people out there are going to be starting both Travis Kelce and Noah Gray?
Probably not a lot.
Is that how we win $1 million? If we're doing the draft, the FanDuel $2.57 million big game bowl, the first place team gets $1 million. Imagine getting new microphones. We tight.
Oh my God. I did not expect you to say that at all.
Get a new microphone for all of us. Get a new one for hot pasta. Get one for
Keith. Hot pasta.
Get
La
one.
Barbara.
Tony Hot Pasta La Barbara. We'll get one
Producer Tony.
For Keith, the Keith Meister. Dr. Keith Meister.
Neither of whom have ever spoken on the show.
Dr. Keith Meister. Well, they could if we got him a goddamn mic.
We got to win this $1 million first. Noah Gray and Travis Kelce have to get in there.
I'm just saying, it's starting to sound pretty cool to me, boys.
And honestly, tell me you don't see this crowd of 3 guys, Noah Gray, Travis Kelce, and Patrick Mahomes, in the crowd together at a Hoobastank show.
100%.
Right?
All on each other's shoulders.
Who's on top? I imagine Travis Kelce's on top.
100% Travis. It's like he's the one that like makes sure that he's always shotgun. He doesn't call it. It's like a dominance thing.
Yeah.
He's like, no, I'm on top, guys. You guys can decide who's on the bottom, who's in the middle.
I mean, dude, when Noah Gray scores 2 touchdowns this week, he's probably going to be on top.
You're right.
You're right. Yeah. He's going to climb his way up there.
Now, guys, we got 2 spots left to fill. The other scratch part would be probably putting the other quarterback in here and then trying to fill that second spot with a budget player. Because we've got 23,000 left, so an average of 11,500 left per player. Jalen Hurts is 17,000. That would put us with only 6,000 left if we were going to try to fit both of those guys in there. Which, the players that are
Hurts,
around.
You say if we got Hurts in there too?
Yeah, if we put both quarterbacks in there is what I'm saying. Hypothetically, the players that are at 6,000 are guys like Sky Moore, Quez Watkins, Justin Watson, Marcus Kemp, Zach Pascal, Noah Gray, like we already put in there. So I'm cool with it, actually.
Dude, Sky Moore? Is that exactly the budget? Like we would have $0 left?
We would have $0 left putting Sky Moore in there.
I'll put that in on mine. And let's make another lineup. Let's make 2 lineups. I'll put that lineup in. We got time. We got another 5 minutes.
Let's see. We got with With Jalen Hurts, yeah. So the players, if we put Jalen Hurts in, like I mentioned, there's Sky Moore, there's Quez Watkins, there's Justin Watson. Coop, that would put us with 4 Chiefs and 1 Eagle. Do you generally like in these single game slates to go heavy on one team?
Because for Hurts, but the thing is, the narrative is there. What if Hurts has just a bunch of rushing touchdowns and nobody else on the Eagles gets points except Hurts? I just put that lineup in. So let's do another lineup. Let's do a second one. If we win, we'll split. The 3 of us will split that money and we'll get new mics for keeping them.
Okay, so let's say for this one, let's start with that same. Do we want to start with the Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Noah Gray core and build out one without Jalen Hurts?
We can start
Maybe
fresh on this.
Where
one.
we do it.
Let's start fresh on this one. JL, why don't you give us a start on this one? What are you feeling on this one?
I'm just sitting here thinking, if Coop actually wins that, there's no chance that he's honoring that in passing agreement.
No,
he's gonna be like, screw you guys.
We made it.
3 mics for me.
We made it together, right?
And Coop shows up every day with another microphone. There's 47 microphones in front of him.
State of the Union address.
After taxes, we buy the microphones, 5 microphones, and then we split what's left over. I think that's fair.
And then we all go on a trip to the woods.
Darkness
in
retreat.
Wyoming.
We all go on a dark retreat, baby.
And then the Hoobastank concert.
Just five fellas in the dark with their microphones.
We would be menaces at a Hoobastank concert because the whole time we'd be walking around making the same joke to every person we see. Hoobastank, you a stank? You a stank?
Youngest dudes at the Hoobastank concert.
If you put the 3 of us, Ernie and Keith, in a darkness retreat for 4 days, do you think all 5 of us are coming out alive?
I think only Aaron Rodgers is coming out alive, and we didn't start with him there.
Ernie morphs into Aaron Rodgers throughout the 4 days.
Aaron Rodgers pulls off his Ernie skin suit.
It was me the whole time.
There is no Ernie.
Do we have time to cram another lineup in, or is there no
absolutely not? Probably. But we
goddamn Hoobastank. Hoobastank ruined it again. So now we have one
again.
We have one terrible lineup in, and that's it. All right, great.
All right, lucky gods, make it happen.
Tim and you said I was already at the darkness retreat waiting for you.
Tim's up in the corner of the room, close to the ceiling.
Tim goes, welcome. I've been waiting in the darkness. That's where Tim comes from, is a darkness retreat. That's where he was born. That's the birthplace of Tim. He walked out as a fully grown man, beard, long hair, and a kimono. Nothing besides that, though. Just a kimono and a smiley face hat, and then ended up outside of the darkness retreat and wandered into my dorm room freshman year.
I don't know where he got a Komodo dragon.
No,
pretty impressive.
A kimono dragon.
Oh, come on. It's my bad.
Yeah.
So it's a kimono that just has dragons on it?
Yeah.
It's a dragon that has kimonos on it.
Oh my God.
Kimono is describing dragon.
If that doesn't exist, we have to put that in the merch store. Or put that on, here's the pitch for Komodo dragon kimono.
We're making it.
We got it.
Once we get that FanDuel money, we'll hook everybody in the chat up with one of those.
Kimono
Guys,
dragon.
That's going to be it for us today. Get ready for your Kimono Dragon merch coming your way, and we'll be back tomorrow morning, first thing from 7 to 10 a.m. Eastern time for some more Front Yard Fantasy morning show. Until then, though, we are out of here. Stick around here and enjoy Moose and Keith coming up next, and we'll see you guys bright and early tomorrow morning.